Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today is a very special guest who I had not announced. I wasn't entirely sure he was going to join me, but he is here in the avatar. Please welcome Sinatra Says. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
Not much. I mean, how are you doing, man?
Little dejected, if I'm going to be honest with you. This is a pretty big hit, you know. Having something taken away from you like that isn't exactly easy.
Right, right. So, just to be clear to the audience out there, Sinatra Says runs a substantial YouTube channel, and was hit today with the rampant figging, we'll call it. He was figged, and his channel has been completely demonetized. Right?
Yeah, totally demonetized. I can't even get money from YouTube Red viewers anymore.
That's insane. So okay, so if you're not familiar with the ins and outs of YouTube ad revenue, you have two types of revenue. You have your direct advertisement revenue, and if you say the N word too much, they take away your advertisement revenue because you're very offensive, and an advertiser doesn't want their specific brand associated with your mean words. However, even when that happens, you still get revenue from any YouTube Red subscriber, which is based entirely on the duration of the video and how much of it they viewed. So, so to have both of them taken away is a complete demonetization, and it goes beyond just you're getting a slap for having a word that like Pepsi finds offensive or whatever.
Well, I don't even think it's that as much anymore. Someone floated the idea that advertisers are just doing this so they can buy back in cheaper. I think that might be part of it, but the fact that they want to just take everything away from I think it's up to 100 different YouTubers now have been completely demonetized.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And of course we know well, we can surmise pretty effectively what's been going on. It's one uh god awful journalist from a garbage publication on a personal crusade against Steven Crowder. However, they're floating the idea that this has been months in the making, and it's a bunch of evil Nazis, white supremacists who are being targeted. Of course, that has not actually been the case. A bunch of non-white supremacist channels have been grabbed in this disaster, and uh, some of the active white supremacist channels out there that are being targeted or that are being watched by like Antifa style groups have not been tagged at all. So it seems very haphazard.
Yeah, this seems like it was just a okay, these are the channels we have an issue with right now because they're making waves in this section or that one. Like, what did Red Elephants do? They're pretty harmless. Vincent is a pretty good dude, but he's not what I would call a white supremacist by any state of the imagination.
Right. Um. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, what kills me, and this is what I'm going to talk about later in the show, as the show goes on, I should say. What kills me is that this is literally, at least in regards to Crowder, is based completely on a lie.
Yeah.
Uh, the guy said that Crowder had a shirt that said socialism is for the F word, the other F word.
Hmm.
But that's not at all what the shirt says. Now, some people may take the joke and run with it, but YouTube is strictly they're bad at context. So for them, it's typically the specific word being said that really triggers them.
Hmm.
And so for them to then take this shirt, which has a clear and reasonable meaning other than the offensive one, and to apply that to completely demonetize such a huge channel that so many people enjoy is crazy. And then of course all of these other channels getting hit. Um, do you have any idea like what content of yours was so offensive that
Um,
that it needed to
no,
go?
I have no idea. I reached out to the creator team, and for whatever reason, they can't say exactly what it is. They just kind of go, okay, you're having a problem. You need to fix it if you want to remonetize it. But we're not going to tell you what the problem is. So I looked through, and the only thing I could think of was I made a video about Carlos Maza about 2 days ago, and it's already at 170,000 views. So I think
Ooh.
that might have something to do with it.
Yeah. So I wonder, I guess what the process is. So what if you, not that you should, but what if you just go ahead and delete every old video and say, fine, there's all of them gone. Can I have my channel back? Do you think they'd do it? That'd be the question, I guess, right?
I don't think they would because I think I have to wait the 30 days no matter what.
Oh my God. What
Yeah,
a
so it's 1 month, no revenue, and I don't get a ton of views, but I think I'm at, like, 2,000,000 views for the month, and that's how I pay my bills. That's some insane shit to just take away.
Yeah, I mean that's a significant chunk. That's I mean I don't want to say how much it is. If you do, you can for sure, but it's that's certainly not no money.
It's not a good amount of money either, but it's enough to pay rent, you know?
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's definitely it's most importantly, it's compensation for what you do.
Yeah,
Uh
it's payment. But what got me more than any of this put together was I sent out that tweet that you retweeted. Team YouTube replied to it saying, "Yeah, we're still running ads on your channel, so I don't know how you're demonetized." So they can still run ads. I'm just not allowed to make anything off of it.
oh, that's the worst. That's
That's
that's that's
dirty.
so much more ridiculous. Good lord.
I think before the demonetization hit me, I checked the video that had 170,000 views and it made less than $100. So it's not a ton of money, but it's not nothing.
No, no, and it although if man, I feel like it should be more than that.
My CPM is in the toilet, so assume half that because everyone uses ad blockers and shit.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Man, speaking of ad blockers, have you seen this thing in the live chats lately where there's just porn site bots?
Yeah, I actually saw that earlier today for the first time.
This just over the past week, my channel has gotten hit with these things like it's absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah,
And
look, there they are.
yeah, they're going nuts. I'm trying to like fix it on the fly. So I apologize if I'm mildly distant, but
Go ahead.
it's God, what a pain in the ass.
Eh, that YouTube is worried about my evil content, but porn bots are perfect.
Yeah,
They're
they're just fine.
totally okay.
No big deal. I'm trying to just go ahead and ban what is it? The links. I didn't think so many people can't link anything when they want to. When I'm like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and there we go."
Maybe in your, live chat settings,
Yeah,
under banned words, put XXX in it.
oh, that's a good idea. I just blocked all links. How's
Yeah.
that? Hopefully that works.
Yeah, that'll
Um
do it.
if not, guys, the next one we'll get it. We'll get them next time. We'll give it the college try. Um, so anyway, well, I wanted to have you on because you got directly affected by this. It's obviously, uh, people, uh, everyone else can tell you how unimportant it is for you to lose your ad revenue, right? But
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of get your opinion on what's going on. Is this a precursor of things to come? Is this just a is this a blip? Is this some grander conspiracy? Not conspiracy, but is this some grander plot, or is it from? Is it all from this Vox? I can't even. What's his name?
Carlos Maza, I believe.
Carlos Maza. Yeah, and I do plan on. I'm gonna play his little video about Crowder in a little bit. That's on Twitter.
Mhm.
Um, we'll do that. But what do you think? Like, what's going on with this? Is this him or is it some bigger thing? I don't even
If
know.
if I had to wager a guess, I would say it's either A, within a few weeks, YouTube's gonna come out and say, "We wanted to target specific extremist channels, but we cast too wide of a net, so we gotta pull it back a little bit." Or B, they'll say it was just all a glitch because they have gotten way too much kickback for them not to do anything.
Right.
How that being said, I think it's all to do with this Carlos Maza dude because they were hitting music. A music channel I followed got hit for hate speech. All they do is music.
Sure. That's
So
weird.
it's just uh swinging wildly at everything. So I think it's all because of Mesa. He's been nonstop tweeting YouTube for about 5 days, at least 2 tweet threads a day, saying how they need to battle this white supremacy and all this on the site.
Yeah, and that's so they've been doing that. The other thing, now that you're telling me that they're running ads on your stuff, that makes this more nefarious, right? Especially for a channel the size of Crowder's. Because if they're still drawing ad revenue off of Crowder's channel, and I don't know if they are, but if they just demonetize him, they can run. Oh, really? I thought when it said your video isn't suitable for advertisers, they didn't run ads on it.
Nope, they just run YouTube specific ads. So like companies that buy in and go, we're just gonna pay to have our video shown, like the Clash of Clans, those mobile apps that don't care about anything. That's what they'll run.
Oh my gosh. How do I get those guys to just sponsor my channel since they don't care, right? How do I
I
do
don't know. I
that?
get emails from them every now and then.
Well, aren't you cool?
I always tell them no.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it would take to do a sponsorship on my show. I can't imagine anyone wanting to sponsor. I have gotten a couple offers, but I can't imagine them actually wanting to follow through on it. I feel like they just see numbers and then they send an email, and when they look into it further, they probably like, oh, I don't know. I said some
Maybe.
weird stuff.
I wonder if sponsors just go after channels a certain size because I noticed a mark increase as soon as I hit 120,000.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many subscribers do you have?
Uh, that's a good question. Let me pull this up. Um, 1 second. I think I'm at 146,000. Yeah, 146, almost 47. Today I gained a lot because of a lot of people talking about what happened.
Right,
Almost
right.
2,000. So yeah, it's a lot of people that are being driven to my channel. But I got to tell you, this might seem a little selfish. I feel a lot better knowing I'm the not the only person that was hit.
Well, yeah, because then they're not targeting you.
Yeah,
They're targeting something. There's some and it's not a person going through and just picking all this stuff out. Likely there's some algorithmic bot that's looking for tags or metadata that that flags the channel, right? Because YouTube has all sorts of that stuff. That's how they categorize all of the stuff in recommended and everything else. And that's how they pull like kids YouTube and all that,
right.
is they look for certain things. But it would be really nice if these dumbasses could just tell us what they don't like so we could just not do it,
Well,
right?
you're the law guy. This is what I meant to ask you a while ago, but I just keep forgetting. Do they purposely not tell you what to avoid some kind of legal ramification?
Um
Like if they tell me to avoid talking about this specific subject, but allow another channel to do it.
yeah, I mean that's like the I got pulled over for speeding, but all the idiots around me who were going the same speed didn't sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where cops have immunity from that because they just can't possibly police everybody. But you know, as far as companies go, if they do make a specific statement about what you can't do, and you point and say, "Hey, what's that over there?" then it suddenly starts to look like discrimination in some different way. Like,
Yeah.
let's say they say you can't talk about this, but then a bunch of white creators do talk about it and one black guy doesn't, and he gets demonetized for some reason. He can pull a discrimination charge against YouTube and maybe have a case. But it seems over cautionary because they're still protected by Section 230, which gives them basically immunity from anything. Um, that's and it's so strong. I don't know. That's what I've been kind of harping on this for a year now. But Section 230 needs to be revisited. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
Should I say, I don't want to like waste time or anything, but
Can
uh,
you cram it into like a 3-sentence thing?
maybe. Sure. It's Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. It was passed in 1996 when GeoCities was important. And basically, Congress said there's no way these websites can track everything that a user could upload to them. So we're going to give them immunity just in case someone posts like child porn or a bunch of murder on a website,
Oh,
and they don't have the staff, and they couldn't at the time have the staff to manually track all that down.
it's the platform versus publisher dilemma.
Sort of, except what Congress did was they said it doesn't matter if the content host is a platform or a publisher. We give them no liability at all, as long as they make a quote unquote good faith effort to remove this content. And that good faith effort is basically they never have to prove it. There's no proof. There's no standard for it. So I think that the original intent of this law was to literally it was to protect a website from having child porn uploaded to it, and almost exclusively that. However, it's now been expanded to any otherwise offensive content. I mean, that's in the statute itself, but that definition has grown because remember, I mean, when this law is passed, social media doesn't exist. There's nothing like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, nothing
That was
even
my next
close.
question.
And so now we've got these platforms that literally do monitor every single thing, both algorithmically, and then in some case they have, the algorithm flags it, and then they have a manual review process, and they curate the content. That wasn't possible in 96. And the content platforms were much smaller. Now they're bigger, and they still monitor everything. So I get the purpose of 230, but it's gotta be changed, because these big platforms that are supposed to be speech based and say they don't curate content and don't discriminate, they obviously do, and we've got to get them to the point where people can have an expectation that their content will stay up so long as it's not violating the law, in my opinion. But
Well, that's the big thing right now, isn't it? Do we need an internet bill of rights because these big corporations, there is no other Twitter alternative. Sure,
no,
there's Gab, but Gab keeps getting protested at every turn. Sure, there's BitChute, but is that really a YouTube alternative?
no.
Are we gonna allow these big monolithic corporations decide what the public discourse is?
Yeah, and the answer to that so far is yeah, we are. And I think it's funny because the reasons that we do, because people were asking me today, they're like, I got two questions. One was, when will the big YouTube creators get together and make a competitor for YouTube? The answer to that is never.
Never.
There's no way they can afford it. There aren't enough PewDiePies in the world to afford that. Two, someone asked me, could I make a web page, and just specifically upload my own stuff to it in video format? And I mean, kind of, but no one watches those. There's not an effective monetization tool. YouTube is it, but YouTube still operates at a loss. It's subsidized by all of the other alphabet companies, and they have an effective monopoly. When people did this back in the 20s and 30s, and they would subsidize a business to establish or maintain a monopoly with a different business that was in a in a normal competitive market, they got busted. They got busted up for doing that, and
Yep.
we as a people decided that was revolting. But now we're just like, no, this is great. We should keep it
Well,
up.
this really brings a question to me about Twitter, how it was ruled a violation of the First Amendment for Donald Trump to block people.
Right.
But it's
Yeah.
not a violation if you're banned from that platform.
Yeah. And if you
And
couple
it's
that,
somehow not a violation when AOC blocks journalists.
oh, of course not. Of course not. Did you also see that Facebook's general counsel the other day argued, I think in court or in a motion, that this was in regards to the doxing thing, right? Where Facebook just doxed a guy who made a video of drunk Pelosi.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and they said, you have no expectation of privacy in your personal information that you give to Facebook. And so they revealed this guy's info to some journalist just because he asked. And they said, this is a digital public square. So they're using the language of the government, the public square before phones and the news, before everything. That was where you went for the news. You got a newspaper, or you went to go see some idiot stand up on a literal crate and just yell at the world. And Facebook's out there admitting now that it is the digital public square, along with companies like Twitter and YouTube. And it's very interesting that they would say that. Did you see that hearing that Zuckerberg did? It was probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half, where Cruz was grilling Zuckerberg, and he was asking him basically the platform versus publisher question, right?
I did see it, but I don't remember the exchange very well.
Yeah,
I
well,
remember Zuckerberg being uncomfortable even for a robot.
right. Yeah, he needed oiling or something,
Yeah.
because that was. But you could tell he was feeling the heat, because he knows every one of those words is a step closer to Facebook being subject to government scrutiny. But
Well, even the co-founder of Facebook came out and said, "This censorship has gone way too far." And he said
yeah,
he wish he wasn't even a part of it.
is it that guy that did like all of the major tech startups and then sold out a little too early on all of them? Is that who that
Yeah,
was?
yep.
The guy, he did like Napster and MySpace and Facebook.
He
he made
jumped
a
ship a little too early.
he made a ton of money still, but not as much as the other guys. But yeah,
No.
it's wild, because so what Zuckerberg basically said was, no, we don't curate content. We don't do that. We just, we remove the offensive content or whatever, but we're not a curator. We are an open platform type thing. And then of course Cruz was countering him with all these examples. But it was that was the start. And I'm like the least regulatory guy I can think of. I don't want regulations on anything. And yet here I am every day thinking, when is the government going to regulate these companies in the interest of just protecting our right to speak?
Well,
That's
I
what's
I
killing
think
me.
that's not gonna happen until it is recognized as a violation of the right. That's as far as I think the government should be in any of our lives, is to make sure our rights don't get violated. And if that means regulating things like Twitter and YouTube and Google, then that's part of it. Because on these platforms is where I'd be willing to bet 90+% of the public conversation happens.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Facebook. Like, Facebook is the monolithic monopoly of the internet, even though I absolutely hate it now. I used to like Facebook, but it is so slow and cumbersome and ugly, and they change the content delivery algorithm like every 36 hours, so you never know what you're actually going to see. Um, I but still, I think something like 70% of the news that people consume comes through a Facebook link, for example. It's an astronomical number. And then the next is like Twitter and then Reddit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, that no one it's how we communicate to the world, and not just how we communicate, literally to the world, not to each other. I mean, we do interpersonal communication, but people still pick up a phone call to call their friend, or pick up a phone to call their friend or family, um, or they'll do a direct message. But the overwhelming majority of this talk is public, or at least semi-public, and it's destined for a broader audience, because never before have we been able to reach people like this, and we're taking advantage of it. But
Exactly.
at the same time, we've got to protect it. We've got to protect that. Uh,
Well, what's the logical next step? If you get banned off of Twitter, banned off of Facebook, pretty much unpersoned, is the phone company going to not allow you service? Are the electric companies going to not allow you service? Like, what is the next step? Is Amazon going to not deliver to you?
yeah, I mean, I think so. And I think the next step beyond, so that's the first thing. I think the next step beyond that, because a lot of this stuff, as we've been seeing, kind of comes from the credit providers, right, and the payment processors. So you've
Yeah.
got Visa, Mastercard, you've got PayPal and Stripe. PayPal and Stripe for the online stuff, Visa and Mastercard for your physical stuff. Um, and both of those control like 85 to 90% of their respective markets. There's no viable competition. And so when you go to your grocery store, here's what I've been saying I think is coming. When you go to your grocery store and you go to pay, MasterCard is going to require you to set your phone down with an NFC chip or whatever, and it's going to scan your social media and check and see if you said anything wrong in the past 30 days, anything that they don't want to associate with. And if they don't like it, they'll just tell the grocery store not to accept payment. And they can,
This seems so conspiratorial and so Orwellian, but so possible.
yeah, well they did it with guns, right? In New York, the banks stopped lending to gun manufacturers.
Yep.
And they did it with Jihad Watch. You know, MasterCard came down on Patreon and said, that guy's got to go or we stop processing payments for Patreon.
Wasn't
And,
that David Horowitz's thing?
no, Robert Spencer, maybe? Was it?
No,
Jihad?
David Horowitz was also threatened by MasterCard.
Oh,
That's what it
okay.
was.
I just remember Jihad Watch. I'm trying to think of who that guy's. Yeah, that's Robert Spencer. And then so David Horowitz also had the same thing happen to him. But I honestly think that is a very logical and plausible next step. It's not far out for these companies. And I know a lot of people have said Bitcoin and cash, but you don't understand. When you go to your grocer and you try to use cash, they're going to say, look, all of our purchases, because we have this payment processing system, you have to scan your phone. That's just the policy that MasterCard has, or else they stop all of our processing. And then what do you do?
The fact that Stripe would try to ultimatum their way into Patreon like that, that is very scary.
Yeah.
It's it, what so these are the issues we're facing. What's a solution? Build your own? We're not allowed to build our own. Nobody wants to do anything to protect anybody who's getting banned. You know, Carlos was on Twitter, and one of the people who got demonetized was a journalist. I forget who it was. He was a lefty journalist who covers a lot of protests and stuff. Let me pull it up here.
Oh yeah, he mentioned
Ford Fisher. He
yeah.
said, "What's happening to Ford Fisher is effing awful. He's a good journalist and doing important work. I don't understand how YouTube is still so bad at this. How can they not differentiate between a white supremacist content and good faith reporting on white supremacy?" And it's like, dude, this is exactly what you wanted. Like,
Yeah,
why are you crying that you got what you want?
because he only wanted the wrong channels to get removed, right? They never, these people who cry for censorship never want it evenly applied. They always want it just applied in the way that they would do it. So I just wanted you to stop Crowder and all of the other anti-gay, the anti-fig producers. That's what I wanted you to stop. How dare you stop someone else that's on the approved list for RightThink?
Exactly. I've seen a lot of lefty types in the past 24 hours complaining that they were censored, whether they were demonetized, had a video flagged, something like that. It's like, this is what you guys have been calling for years, but you just thought it wasn't going to get you. Why do you think you're exempt from this?
Right.
And whenever you bring it up to them, they just block you, so it doesn't matter.
Of course. This guy in the chat says, just build an entirely new internet for yourselves. It's only impossible.
Yeah,
it is.
$93 trillion to get that going.
Right. And also impossible land rights that require government intervention.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think we've got them. Like, I've been opposed to the U.S.'s implementation of net neutrality. I'm not opposed to net neutrality as a concept, but I don't trust the government in the way that they were doing it. But either way, regardless of whatever I've thought in the past. Now I'm at the point where, those tubes and pipes with the vacuums or whatever in them, they that are sending literal text messages to people, they run under my land, yours, everybody's. They require government easements to get them. They run under our roads. All of this is public. I mean, it's publicly owned. The infrastructure was paid for in some sense by the companies. However, they're reaping the profits from it. But here's the thing. They've taken rights from us through government, through things like eminent domain, to get that. And now we need to go ahead and protect our ability to use it. Because if you get removed from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, what do you actually, like the average person, what do you do on the internet besides porn?
I surf eBay. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't. Those are by far it's Facebook, and then it's like Netflix, and then it's Reddit, I think, and then it's Twitter, and then YouTube or something like that. Those are like the top 5. And if you got banned from all of them, that's the majority of internet use for the average human being. If you got banned from them, you're gone. And what would your taxes be securing on the eminent domain property rights for those internet cables? Like, you wouldn't be able to use them in any appreciable way.
Exactly. It's and a lot of the stuff like these pipes and wires and stuff, it's taxpayer funded. So they're taking that money from you and going, no, you can't use it.
Right.
And then walking away with a chunk of your paycheck.
And if you guys think that if you think that video games, someone said video games, if you think that's a haven, guess what? You get banned from these things. Steam has a similar terms of service. So does Xbox Live. So does PlayStation 4 or PS Live. I mean, Sony's been censoring stuff all over the place the past 2 years. Xbox has been kicking people off of Xbox Live for saying the wrong type of F word as well. Can't call people figs on Xbox.
And to think this all started with some video games developer banging a bunch of male journalists.
Right.
That's where this all started.
Yeah. Well, for me, it all started with me calling people figs all the time on Halo 2. Halo 2 voice chat was great.
I remember those Halo 2 days.
I could finally lay into whatever asshole just was so much better than me at that game.
Hacking fig.
Hey, I gotta welcome someone else to the stream. We've got Gator. Gator is with us. Hey, buddy, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. What's going on, Nick? I see you guys are talking about the fig problem.
Yes. Fig. By the way, figs are absolutely revolting. I was at a dinner, a chef's table dinner, right? Where you buy a table for like 10 or 12 people, and a chef team comes in and they cater a 5-course meal, very fancy, very wonderful. And I get my salad, the first course, and there is a fresh fig on it. And I have a policy that whenever I know that a competent chef has cooked me a meal, I'm going to try everything on that plate just because, like, I trust the chef. I still hate figs. Still hate them. Can't do it. It's like, I feel like these flavors should be correct, but this fig is disgusting. So
yeah, they're not good. Not
a fan of the figs.
I think at this point, God hates figs. They're just disgusting.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there might be some people who agree with that statement out there somewhere.
I think Crowder isn't a fan of figs either.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be. So talk to me, Gator. What's going on, man? Do you know who else has been hit by this?
Our boy Jesse Lee Peterson got his entire channel demonetized. Cog apparently got his channel demonetized.
Jesse Lee Peterson got hit?
Yep.
Yes.
That's the most calm fella on the internet.
Amazing. James Alsup got hit. Vincent James from Red Elephants got hit.
Red Ice TV got hit.
Red Ice got hit.
This is it's nuts. So of course I'm going to say this, and it's probably stupid to talk about, but what the hell? Does YouTube not remember like what happened when they took a bunch of money away from people last time. Like they took like $3 of ad revenue from some weirdo, and she went into YouTube Studios and shot people, right?
Yeah,
Someone,
Nassim.
yeah, and it had like no revenue. This is not a big channel. I think she had what, like 1,000 subscribers and like 12 views.
If that.
It was like an embarrassingly small amount. And this person flips out over losing their dollar, and they go and they shoot people. I cannot believe that YouTube would be taking this risk in this way, and doing it so. It just seems like it's. I know it's supposed to be a coordinated thing. That's the narrative that Carlos or whatever is trying to run. That this is a coordinated thing. It's not him, right? Better not be him, because he probably doesn't want to get shot or whatever.
He's had a.
God.
As I say, he's had a vendetta against Crowder for a while. The reason that he waited until now to spring this ambush on him is that it's, it's gay month, gay pride month. So
right.
Obviously there's going to be more attention on Crowder calling people figs now than there would have been otherwise.
Did you guys know Carlos is gay? I don't think he mentioned that in every tweet he sent out, but he's gay and it's Gay Pride Month. And he's an LGBT creator and he's gay.
I didn't know. His handle is @gaywonk, but I thought it was just a joke.
Yeah,
like a self-referential irony kind of thing.
He's very upset that other people call him Gay Wonk, but it's his fucking Twitter handle.
That's so wild. Did you guys see someone it was Jarbo Pesos or whatever posted some Reddit material or some Chan material from Gay Wonk? Have you seen that?
No.
I can't show it on screen.
Unfortunately.
I can't, because there's a penis in there. There's a live penis in there, but I'll DM it to you so you can take a look.
Actually, I'll regret this, but yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah, the Quartering retweeted it a second ago, but here, let me copy the link. I'm gonna post it in the stream chat here.
Okay.
So if you want to pull that up, you can. Unfortunately, we can't show it up on screen. But if you guys either go to @Jarbo Pesos or @The Quartering, you can find, and he retweeted Jarbo Pesos in the chat. Or no, I'm not going to retweet a penis. I'm just not going to do it.
Oh my god!
But read some of these things. I mean, they're horrifying.
Oh wow!
Filmed my husband coming inside our third with a little devil face. Sorry, it's a little dark. And then the next one, here's the post for Redditors. So this is from Reddit, I believe. Yeah. Redditors in an open marriage, how's that going for you? By Willowbark. And here's the reply from Gay Wonk. Great. I've been with my husband. We're both men. Well,
obviously.
Maybe. For nearly 10 years, and I don't think I can imagine myself in a successful monogamous relationship anymore. Non-monogamy is pretty much the default setting for most gay men, which I think is a little offensive. And actually, I think if Crowder would say that, he'd be demonetized instantly. So it's not exactly unusual. I entered the relationship wanting exclusivity, but that fell by the wayside when I discovered how much fun threesomes are. We spent about a year dissecting each sexual encounter we had to make sure we understood what each of us was comfortable with. Good journalistic writing skills. And we've been pretty good since then. We have threesomes and foursomes together with friends pretty frequently, and also play separately when one of us is traveling. It's made our marriage stronger and brought a lot of enjoyment into both of our lives.
This is from r/gay bros gone wild. Oh man. This is more than I've ever wanted to know about Carlos.
Reddit needs the flamethrower. I think the Emperor is not pleased. Heresy needs purging.
Exterminatus.
This is a little too much.
Yeah, but so there's that. But so that's apparently. I mean, that's the same handle as Carlos Maza. Of course, we cannot verify that he is indeed Gay Wonk on both platforms.
I don't know. That penis looks about the right color.
I mean, I'm not going to delve into that. I'm not going to stare into that white hole, so to speak.
I'd say beige.
Well, I say a white hole because there's a theoretical white hole that is the converse of a black hole, but it is permanently radiating light at an extremely bright on the spectrum. So, yeah, that's what I wasn't referring to race. I mean, we wouldn't do that. Can't do that anymore.
I was talking about my chair.
Yeah. Is your chair beige or sandy beige?
It's a microfiber beige.
Oh, okay. Now, this is something I have to ask of all my guests. Is your chair in good shape? Does your or would Sarah McLachlan play if people if we put a picture of your chair up, would Sarah McLachlan start singing and ask for donations? Or is it in good shape?
No, it's in pretty good shape. It's got a little cracked leather on it, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, it's just a little older, but that's not a that's way different than being serially abused.
No, it's not wobbly or anything. The back is still straight. It's in good shape.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. There's a guy I know who is absolutely abusive to his chair, and it's sad. A GoFundMe was actually started for it, but it got shut down.
In the arms of an angel.
Oh, they shut down a GoFundMe for a chair.
Well, it was to liberate the chair, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes it a little different.
For just pennies a day, you can save a chair's life.
I think they had raised $24 to save that chair.
That's a lot of money to save a chair.
Yeah. Okay, so Gator, what's the solution here, man? What are we doing? How do we fight this? Because in the past it was, well, go to Stream Me or go to DLive or whatever, but that's not effective, is it?
It's not really, because their ultimate goal is they want to take everybody that disagrees with them politically and in any other way. They want to basically segment them off on their own platforms, which is nothing but groupthink. So you'll never actually be able to interact with people that think differently or people that just don't know or don't have the information. They want one internet for all the right-wing creators to just go away and never interact with normal people. And then they want the other side of the internet where left-wing content creators and other people of that nature to be able to influence the political conversation, to be able to influence other types of conversations. So just going off on our little segmented websites isn't really a true solution. What we have to do is we have to find a way to fight the deplatforming, to fight these organizations and come at them and either deplatform them just as hard as they're deplatforming us, or we have to come up with a solution that forces these companies to respect free speech, to respect the right of the public square.
Right. Because I'm so pro free speech. I don't report people. I don't block people. The only people, pretty much the only people I banned from YouTube are the bot spammers, right? I hide them on the channel because it's ridiculous. And that's just been in the past week or so. But I've been opposed to that for so long. But it's getting to the point, and I'm a lawbertarian of sorts, right? Like I so believe in the free market, but we don't have one. We don't have anything like it. We have a government protected monopoly, and so I think you're right. We have to weaponize and fight back. We have to use the tools that they're using against us, and then we have to use that, because that's how we get the change, right? If everybody is getting fisted, then everybody's gonna go try and buy the lube. Does that make sense?
Right.
Is
mutually assured destruction.
Is that a disgusting enough analogy?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Gator, you said one thing, that they want to split the internet. A majority of people don't give a shit about politics, so they're just going to go with whatever internet has Twitter, YouTube, Amazon, Netflix, all that stuff on it. So it's really trying to stack the deck.
Right. Yeah, we're just self-censoring. I mean, if we remove ourselves from, if a YouTube creator removes himself from YouTube, he is effectively removing himself from the public square. You may be able to maintain an audience, a loyal audience for a while. you can't grow it. You just can't grow it. There's not an effective mechanism outside of spending inordinate amounts of money advertising and then just begging someone to click on something that they've never clicked on. The magnificent thing about YouTube and Twitter and Facebook is people click on these things automatically every day, right when they wake up. When I wake up, I pull up my phone, I click on Twitter, or I click on YouTube, or I click on, well, I don't click on Facebook, or I click on my email. One of those three. I'm like, what have I missed so far this morning? And I start catching up. And that's how content creation and distribution has, for better or worse, that's where we are. So if we try and, if you go to Gab, you go to be ignored. No slight to Gab, although their system's a little bit, it's just not as smooth as Twitter. But it doesn't matter because people aren't accustomed to clicking on Gab. They've been clicking on Twitter for a decade. YouTube, same
Humans
thing.
are creatures of habit, if nothing else.
Right. And you can watch any of these channels who have gone over to somewhere else and their viewership and their income drops. I mean, it's so dramatic that it's insane. I don't know. Did you want to talk about that at all, Gator? Because you have some experience with that with the kill stream, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were riding pretty high in November, and then of course Yori Ko writes that hit piece in the Wall Street Journal against Ralph. And what happens next? YouTube immediately purges all of Ralph's channels, and we move over to D Live. But every time that we were forced to go on a new platform, we hemorrhaged people because they were so used to going to YouTube. And we had people messaging us for weeks and weeks after that. Even today, people still message us, hey, is the kill stream going on? What's going on with Ralph's show? They don't know because they're so used to clicking on YouTube and seeing, oh, I'm subscribed to Ralph. The show's on. I'm going to go check out what's going on. They're so used to that. And then all of a sudden it just went away. They weren't connected on Twitter or some of these other platforms, so they just didn't know where we went.
Right, and even if you are downloading another app, managing that other app, navigating it, getting used to it, getting notifications from it, notifications that you care about, hoping that app doesn't spam you so you just turn them off. All of that. Well, D Live, I don't know if D Live does, but StreamMe had the problem where they didn't have background play on phones. So a lot of people who would, they'd pull up a stream and then they'd do other stuff while listening and just have a little tiny YouTube window. They couldn't do that on StreamMe. And I don't know if they can do that on D Live, but it's like that feature really matters to the point where it's a significant hit in people. Because they're like, well, I can't just have this stream running on my phone for the next 3 hours, but I can if I can do other stuff with it.
Right, and that's the problem that a lot of these websites are running into, is that they don't have that background play set up. DLive, I'm pretty sure, doesn't have it yet. They've said that they're going to get it, but people like to do that. I like to listen to like Dick Masterson's show while I'm like running or working out.
Right. Yeah, and thank goodness he puts out a podcast, right? Because so you actually can. But yeah, well, any of these, like I could not sit and watch my show. I don't have the time to sit down and consume 3 hours of content. I just don't. And so I would have to have it, like I'd throw headphones in while I'm working around the house or while I'm driving around town, listening to the show. That's how I would consume my show and others. I love the heck out of everybody who does watch live. It's crazy. But it's for most people that, a lot of people can't do that. And so YouTube has so many options to allow people to do stuff like that. And it's baked into Google, right? Microsoft got hit by this years ago, but now we don't care that when you buy a Google phone, you have an unfair set of apps. What was it? Windows. You had to ship Windows with like Netscape on it because they had a monopoly with Internet Explorer. Back in the 90s, I think it was.
Yeah, the old Microsoft antitrust case that Janet Reno brought against them.
Right. Now we don't care because now Google or Apple ship with their respective browsers. And sure, you can get the other ones. You could on Microsoft too, but they ship with Chrome or Safari loaded up. They have Chrome has a massive market share in the mobile market, especially now that Windows phones, well, Windows phones never had any particular share, but they've just beat out other mobile browsers by default. And same with Safari if you like Apple phones, and if you do, I'm sorry, that's your choice. But
I like my iPhone. It's never done me wrong.
That's fine.
I'm not sticking with it. If that makes you feel any better, I'm not keeping it.
Oh, good, good. No, I was traveling, like an Article 4 free inhabitant. I was traveling the other day, with my mom, and I had to use her phone to do something, and she had an iPhone. I use a Pixel, and it's like, I hate every second of this because I don't know what button to push. So it just pissed me off. But I
Fair
think
enough.
Apple users have the same thing when they pick up an Android, probably. Or maybe I'm just bad at tech, which is also true. So, okay, so we can't segment off. How do we fight back? This is interesting. I actually think that Crowder could fight back on this one. I don't know if he's going to.
Well, he has that half Asian lawyer he likes to trot around, so maybe he could do something. It's really up to if he wants to.
Right. Well, he has
Because
motivation
who
to.
knows how much money he's making off of YouTube? Maybe it's not worth it to fight it.
Well, yeah, that could be. And I don't know how much money The Blaze is making anymore. Glenn Beck's program, which technically I think owns Louder with Crowder, or they produce it or something. Blaze TV. Do you guys know if they're still? I know Blaze TV retweeted Louder with Crowder and suggested that people join the Mug Club, but I didn't know if they were still in a contract relationship.
He's still listed on their website, so I would assume so.
Yeah, so it, Crowder plus Blaze might have enough monetary incentive to do so, reputational incentive. I mean, that's the thing that obviously I've been covering the Vic Mignogna case, and Vic's lawyer Ty and I are friends, and I was talking to Ty about this idea, this deplatforming or terminating or uninviting, like Vic got uninvited from cons, and it's not an established legal theory, but I think the theory is certainly viable, that the very act of delisting someone, or in this case demonetizing someone, because so Sinatra says, I've heard all day that white supremacist channels got shut down. So now you getting shut down on today inherently suggests that you would be a white supremacist channel, especially if no one is familiar with your content, right? Like, that'd be a reasonable person's inference.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, all these Nazis got shut down. Here's this guy. He got shut down. Well, must be a Nazi. That's how that kind of plays out. So the very act of shutting someone down may be defamatory. And that's an interesting thing, because that is a direct thing that YouTube did that might pass that 230 protection. Vox Day is actually going through, I need to check up with him on this, but he was going through arbitration with Indiegogo for the same thing, because Indiegogo not only shut down his comic book campaign, but they sent an email out to all of the users, or all of the donators, and saying, we're refunding your money because this campaign violated the terms of service. Well, if he didn't actually violate the terms of service, that's a defamatory statement. And so YouTube demonetizing Crowder, one is, I think, defamatory. But then what they really need to do is go after Carlos Maza and Vox. That's my opinion. Especially because Maza clearly lied about the shirt. And that's
not only that, but Maza, about a week ago, I have it archived somewhere, he directly called for the assault of politicians he doesn't like by saying that you should go out and, quote, milkshake them all, end quote.
And they did. Lots of people got milkshaked right after that tweet.
And based upon his Reddit thing, I don't actually trust that he meant milkshake. I think he might have been referring to another substance that is similar in color to a milkshake.
Viscous liquid of some sort.
Yeah, some horrifying Stygian nightmare getting milkshaked by Carlos Maza. But no, I mean, yeah. So this guy obviously is targeting people, which is a big no-no apparently. Even though that's generally not illegal, it's a big no-no on these platforms. But I think Crowder's got a tortious interference case with business prospects, because this guy comes out, he lies about Crowder to YouTube, and then that messes with his YouTube income, which we don't really have a contract that's breached. So that would make the tortious interference with contract difficult. Plus, it's in California, and their TI statute I don't think is as strong as like Texas. But tortious interference with prospective business relations, because you lie about someone and then it impedes their ability to gain new business. And what's the next platform that's going to accept Crowder? They're going to have to look and say, whoa, YouTube, YouTube refused to monetize this guy because he's so hateful. What are we going to do?
Look what happened with Sargon and Subscribestar. Sargon gets thrown off Patreon. When he goes to Subscribestar, they immediately pull Subscribestar's payment processor.
Exactly.
Kind of a similar situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and just for everyone out there, I am reaching out through my network. I'm hoping to get the half Asian lawyer on the show. No promises, of course, but I would love to pick his brain about this stuff. Whether Crowder's going to go through with it or not, I would love to pick his brain on it, because it's hard to find lawyers who are in this social space, right? We all stick to our little areas of practice that are local, and even bigger firms, right? They don't deal in this. Lawyers are notoriously behind the internet by probably a decade. We're just not good at it. The law doesn't keep up with tech. So Bill being involved in all of these constant legal spats that Crowder gets into based on being a socially public figure, I think that's very, very interesting, and I'm hoping to get him on the show as soon as possible. So I have reached out to him. So a lot of people have suggested to bring him on. I'm trying, but there's only so much I can do. Maybe I'll call him. But
I would watch that. I'd super chat that stream.
Well, thank you.
I would be really interested to hear what he has to say, because especially dealing with Crowder, I'm sure he's got some pretty good insight on the shit.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a tendency for conservative minds to, whenever this stuff happens, they just want to kind of bury their head in the sand. They just want to go along to get along. They don't really want to fight back because they're so scared that their head's going to be the next on the chopping block. I imagine Crowder's probably scared they're just going to pull his entire YouTube channel just outright. So I really hope a conversation like that can happen, so you can kind of convince them, look, this is the path you need to go. You can't just bury your head in the sand. This is war.
Right. And we know, according to what's his face, Carlos Maza, that Crowder doesn't make any money from YouTube. That's not the point. He was trying to do that, right? He's trying to get the whole channel pulled. Although I'm betting Crowder makes an absolute fortune, or at least what I would consider a fortune from YouTube. I don't know what his views are like.
I actually just had his Social Blade pulled up because I was curious.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
He's averaging like 1 to 2 million views a day, 600,000. Okay, so 600,000 to 1 million a day.
So I mean, that's a bunch of money, though.
Yeah.
So what? So okay. So trying to figure out how much ad revenue that is. What? That's something like $1,000 a day in ad revenue.
He has a CPM similar to mine. That'd be 500 to $1,000 a day, implying he's getting every view monetized.
And I would wager, I bet his CPM is higher.
Probably.
When he's got what, 3 million subscribers, 3.8 million subscribers. I bet his CPM is very, very high. Yeah, gosh, I can't imagine. So, but we're talking about $300,000 a year, basically. I mean, if we take a rough estimate, that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. Well, his estimated earnings on Social Blade are $7,000 to $111,000 a month. So I guess that's depending on his CPM. That's crazy. Yeah. So huge amounts of money, huge.
And YouTube gave him an ultimatum, pretty much. They said, you can remonetize your channel if you do this. I don't know anyone else who got that same ultimatum.
No, and the other thing is apparently the shirt is down. The shirt is down. I don't know if Crowder did it or if the retailer
No,
did it.
Shopify took his shirt down after it was reported.
So there you go. So now he should get his money back then, or he should get his monetization back immediately. I would think if his shirt's down, right? Like that. Or since they did it, does that not give him the ability? Because he's not apologizing. Because if he did it, that was a scene in both Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, right? Where you had to participate in your humiliation. In those books, it was the court. They had to go to the court and participate and apologize for their actions. And when they refused to, the court had no power because that was Ayn Rand's fantasy, not reality. But yeah, I gotta wonder if, since his shirt was taken down, if that means that he gets his channel back, or if it means that, well, you didn't take it down, so you can't get your channel back now because you're not repentant enough.
Maybe they could just go, well, the shirt link is gone, so good enough for us. But I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got to come up with a comparable shirt, I guess. Maybe if he made it rainbow colored instead of red, maybe that would help.
Maybe. Riotous for figs.
YouTube turned around and then added stipulation. They added another. This is what minorly important says. I don't know what's the other stipulation.
Yeah, I too am interested to see what, because the thing that gets to me about this.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Sorry, I saw it. Someone said they made a post because when they said that, of course, Carlos followed up with like, "Oh, are we serious here? That's all he has to do. It's not about the shirt, blah blah blah." Even though it was about the shirt before, but then they said, "Let me just clarify. That was just about the shirt. There's actually all this other stuff. He has to atone for all of his sins." I mean, I'm almost word for word saying what they said there. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, he doesn't want Crowder to be demonetized. He doesn't want Crowder to lose his Shopify shop. He wants Crowder Alex Jonesed.
Yep.
That's what he wants. There's no two ways about it.
And I would suggest that he wants him dead. Because I literally mean this, because when you take away people's ability to produce their income, to produce their content, to do their craft, and is something that they've been able to provide the world, when you take that away from them, I legitimately think that you want them dead, because that is a logical outcome for a lot of people. We see that in any financial crisis. The amount of suicides go, they spike. As people are no longer able to do what they do, they get laid off. When men are not able to be, this is stereotypical, and I'm fine with that. When men are not able to be productive in the way that they like to be productive, they're at higher risk for death, either through suicide or sickness or anything else.
You talked about that in context of the Kick Vic stuff. It was very obvious what direction they wanted that entire situation to go.
Yeah, they wanted him dead. They knew. I think anybody who knows Vic and how important fan interaction is to him, like his supposed friends of the past decade and a half to 2 decades, would know that taking away his ability to interact with fans would put him in severe risk. I think they absolutely knew that. And that's one of the reasons I think they're some of the worst people on earth.
Well, for that to be a thing, you have to assume they care. These people are just vitriolic ideologues who don't care about the outcome. They just want the immediate gratification of this person being canceled, quote unquote.
Sure.
Sam Hyde's quote rings very true today as it was when he first said it. Which was that? They want you broke, dead, your children raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny.
Right. Yep. Yeah, they really. I think there's a combination, Sinatra. I think there are some people who really do care, and want people to suffer, and then I think there's the the tag-alongs who just want to see someone removed, right? We just want his offensive opinion gone, and then 2 seconds later they're going to turn around and be on some other issue. But this Carlos Maza guy, I mean, he's pursuing this, right? Like he is. I gotta find his Twitter. It's
I put
terrifying.
my first video up. Let me pull my channel up here. I put my first video up on 3 days ago. So Monday I made it public. I recorded it Sunday night. He's been going at this since Sunday afternoon. Every day, constant tweet threads about the same thing. About at YouTube, Crowder's a problem, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, in every tweet, he has to at YouTube, if not once, more than once, just to really get that attention.
Of course. So he's got. Yeah, he's adding YouTube on everything. God, well. Reporters.
Ralph had the tweet, like one of his actual Twitter account, like open. I think he opened it at like 5 p.m. And within the span of 5 p.m. to 9:30 when the show started, he had posted almost 400 new tweets.
Yeah, he's going nuts. How are these people so good at tweeting? Like, how do they tweet so fast?
His husband must be out of town or something.
Oh, no,
they have no lives.
His husband's just next to him with another man, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's getting. Never mind. By the way, I do sell a shirt called Cut Commander. Maybe I should. We're pushing offensive shirts. Yeah, I'm looking at his thing here. I mean, it's just constant tweets, and I'm not even looking at tweets and replies. I was just looking at the main, the threads he started. There's in the past 20 hours. I mean, he started and retweeted just dozens of threads. It's crazy.
I also saw that Becca Lewis, the alternative influencer chick,
Data and Society,
yeah, she was jumping in on it too.
She's probably been involved with that from the get-go. So do you remember the alternative influencer network? Was that little scary looking chart that said that Styx, Hex, and Hammer's directly connected to Richard Spencer and David Duke, and V was connected to Nazi propagandists and all this other stuff. That was the idea of that entire alternative influencer network. Was they wanted to take all of the intellectual dark web people and non-offensive content creators like Styx, Hex, and Hammer and try to argue that there's some evil right-wing masterminds on the internet. Well, Becca Lewis and Joan Donovan were two of the individuals that helped compile that report. And interestingly enough, both of their names keep showing up when it comes to deplatforming creators. Josh of Kiwi Farms talked about this months ago. He said, pay very close attention to this alternative influencer network and Data in Society. These are the people that are going to get thrown off of every platform. This is their roadmap for the future. Yeah, and they've been pretty effective at a lot of it. I mean, they got they got Rubin off of Dave Rubin off of Patreon, but they did it in a roundabout way.
Yeah, that's true.
And they, Sargon has been demolished in various ways. I mean, he's still on YouTube, but I think Sargon's influence has massively decreased following this UKIP disaster. They went after they got Andy Worski was on there. He had a big box, didn't he? If I remember right.
It's because he did all those things for Worski Live that probably put him in a big box because he had everyone on his show. Yeah, he had Spencer and stuff like that. I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Sorry. Yeah, sounds good, buddy. But a lot of those guys, yeah, they've been effectively just punted off. Aiden Paladin ripped that thing apart on a stream on Coach Red Pill's channel. I was on there with her, but she was ripping apart how poorly that document was drafted as far as academic standards. But it wasn't meant to be an academic paper, right? It was made to resemble an academic paper to people who don't know what they look like. Exactly. It was actually just a propaganda piece. No citations, no studies, no data.
Just
Well, I'll tell you what they used for the data. If X person appeared on a stream, not at the same time, mind you, but just on a stream that somebody else just happened to show up on, they drew a line of association between the two. So it's even less academic than Owen Leinhardt's attempt to show the connection between journalists and Antifa accounts, which he got banned from Twitter for.
yeah, it's pretty interesting, and yeah, because well, like for example, there was that stream where Sargon debated Richard Spencer, where those two are vastly different individuals, and so to draw like some link between those two, and where did they did that? Was that on the Kill stream?
No, that was actually Worski Live, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, so they had that debate, and it's like they're literally debating. They're two.
Yeah, and Styx was also on that stream, which is where the line from Styx and Richard Spencer comes from.
Right. Yeah, it's just wild that they're so effective at this, and I think it's, I mean, there's so many theories going around. I think a lot of it has to do with the death throes of traditional media. I think that's, that was WAPO's hit piece on Killstream. Was it's like you guys know you're being replaced, and of course the Alternative Influencer Network paper flat out says these people are building rapport and trust with their audiences, and they're gaining credibility in that way rather than having credibility deemed upon them because they're the elite press. They've decided to just take credibility. How dare they do that by like being correct about things, by being charismatic, and by engaging with their audience and doing the work that traditionally people had to do. The press has now become a monolith, and if you don't bow before it, then you don't get to play. And so the Kill stream is a very popular place for people to catch up on news. I mean, it had its blood sports and everything too, but it was in large part a news show. And they gave their own commentary. And that, I think that was probably one of the most offensive things to WAPO, is that they have to buy their exposure, whereas we build it.
Exactly. And it also scares them how rapidly this content can be built up. So, Ralph came back from his legal suspension, let's call it, in late February. Right. By April, the Baked Alaska meltdown happened and our stream just shot through the roof, and it just kind of continued from there on into the Mundane Matt thing. And so the speed at which these YouTube channels grow scares the legacy media to the point that they don't know how to compete. So what do all corporations do if they can't compete with something? They destroy it.
Yep. And they don't. The traditional capitalist notion is to destroy through being a better competitor, but that's not how it works. They destroy with
they can't be a better competitor to the independent creators that are doing it now. They just simply can't.
Right. Gentlemen, I have neglected something very much, just because I wanted to kind of lay into this stream. But I have a policy where if people send a super chat of $20 or higher, I try to read it right away. And so if you guys don't mind, I'd like to hit some of those. There's probably some questions and commentary, and feel free to jump in on any of those if you have some thoughts that go with that. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Mither Nemmer says, looks like you'll have to be on your best behavior or the YouTube wrong-think police will get you. They made their hate speech and harassment terms even more of a mismatch of indecipherable gobbledygook. Thanks, YouTube. And that's true. They have put out an update. I haven't read it, but it doesn't. The thing about terms of service is that they ultimately don't matter, because we don't hold companies to the terms of service. We only hold the user to the terms of service. If the company violates it, or if the company just breaks the contract or the user agreement, there's no punishment. And
they're just gobbledygook to say they can just get rid of you for whatever reason they come up with.
Yeah, I love how Dick describes them. He says they're an ad. They're just an ad to the they're an ad to a payment processor, or an ad to advertising revenue. Look at our terms of service. You want to look at these? We're proper thinkers, and we're very conscientious. And I think that is wise. Dick is wise sometimes. Simulated internet friend says, our elites are reaching levels of arrogance and pettiness that shouldn't be possible. Do they not realize how bad things could get in Minecraft if the average Joe begins to believe he's being denied a voice? Low-key scared. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? I mean, this has been brewing really for, I guess, the entire lead up to the 2016 election. I was in Facebook chats with people who were unironically calling for a civil war. Or my friend Drexel, who's been on the stream, has said, I'm waiting for the collapse. Actually, I want the collapse to occur and a restructuring of society. Do you guys think that that's something that's on the horizon?
I think we've kind of been stuck in, I've heard the phrase cold civil war thrown around. I think we've kind of been stuck in that for a little while. Like you see Roman hoplite like battles on the streets every time there's a protest somewhere. So all the elements are there. It just really needs that switch.
Yeah, that was one of the interesting things Sargon had talked about during the Berkeley stuff. When he did a kind of a cheesy video where he laid out the Battle of Berkeley, but he was talking about how many people were involved in the conflict, and there were literal battle lines. The only thing we didn't have were bodies, but he was talking about the numbers, and he's like, these would have been relevant historical battles at some point in history. You have thousands of people on each side of this, pushing in lines against each other, and it was kind of crazy. Like that was one of his weird, astute observations that he made back before he went really kind of off the deep end. But we're like stabbings away from literal blood in the streets battles that would be.
Well, we've had
devastating.
stabbings. You remember that?
Well, I mean, like with pikes, right?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Like,
We're okay. Let me rephrase. We're disembowelments away from. But no, we have. Yeah, we have had. There's that. There's that KKK meeting.
Protest?
I don't know.
I think it was a Milo protest where a guy got stabbed and sent to the hospital.
Yes, that was a Milo protest.
Yeah, there was that. There was also the KKK. There's a KKK rally with like 8 guys sitting around in a park somewhere, and then some people came up and attacked him, and the one KKK guy pulls out a knife and stabs a bunch of the attackers. He got arrested, but he got released because they determined it was all self-defense since they were attacked first. But I mean, no one died from that, but it's lucky that no one did. Yeah, we're close to it, and I don't know what it takes, but I remember what was it, Batman, it was one of the Dark Knight, the one with Bane or whatever. That was kind of a scary sort of idea, right, where people were fed up enough that they would actually drag people out into the street and execute them, take their stuff, or exile them through mob rule.
We're taking Gotham back and giving it to you,
right?
The people.
And by you, I mean me. Jack Harris says, what claims could somebody make against Maza, Vox, YouTube, payment processing services, if any? Who would be the easiest target if a suit were possible? Maza and Vox, by extension, are the easiest targets. Tortious interference and defamation, especially because Maza he knowingly lied. That shirt does not say the word he said it says. It said figs. It even had a fig in place. There's a relevant reference because Che Guevara was he was killed under a fig tree, right? And so that's the Guevara's on the shirt. It's red, implying the socialism. So they definitely lied and misrepresented that shirt. That cost Crowder monetary damages. They have tortious interference. They have defamation against Maza, and then Vox by extension, since he's a journalist for Vox and representing himself as so. YouTube is harder because they have Section 230 immunity, but YouTube's act of deplatforming Crowder and saying that he has violated all this stuff when just the day before they had said he actually they didn't like his speech necessarily, but it wasn't violating the terms.
Yeah, it was 24 hours from. Yeah, we don't agree with it, but he's not violating any terms to demonetized.
Right. Yeah, he's not doing it. He's gone. But yeah, so I think there is a case against YouTube. I've heard PragerU filed suit against YouTube like today, and I think based on this, did they get hit too? They got hit a while back.
They said something like they have 100 videos put in restricted mode.
Good Lord.
And Prager's about as normie as you can get.
Yeah, I don't even like him. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of PragerU, but I mean, they can put out their stuff. I don't care what I don't care what they do. But
it's about the reach, I think, a lot with Prager, because I see their videos on Facebook like all the freaking time.
Right. And that's the scary thing for Crowder, I think. Even if the, let's say a lot of his shows got demonetized, I don't actually know that. That was a claim Maza made, but no evidence, of course. Just because he says, quote, all political stuff gets demonetized, which is grossly untrue. That is definitely not a true statement. But Crowder, I mean, it's advertising, right? YouTube is advertising for Crowder. That's and the reach and the influence, similar for PragerU. Like these are ads to go and engage in Crowder's content further, to sign up for the Mug Club. PragerU, sign up for our lecture series or whatever. That's what they're after. So taking them down really can be crippling in a completely different way. But I do think YouTube is vulnerable here. It's harder with 230, but you know what? They keep demonetizing these predominantly. I mean, Crowder is not edgy right wing, right? Crowder,
no, he's very tepid, to say the least.
He walks the line of safe content. Like he's very much making a business decision with how he presents his content, and it's engineered to be on the edge of being edgy, I think. And that's fine. That's fine. But Crowder is not hard right at all. He's not alt right. He'd be just a normal conservative, somewhere conservatarian or something like that. That's
albeit one that seems to put on a dress a lot in some of his skits.
Right. That's the Tarian part.
That's the Tarian part.
But he's not he's not out there. He's not like hardcore nationalist. I mean, I think he's for closed borders or whatever, but he's not like crazy out there nationalist, or you know what I mean. I'm not actually denouncing nationalism or anything. I don't do that. But Crowder is not that like hard right brand. So
he's not even to the right of Ben Shapiro.
Right. So they keep going after these very normie digestible right-wing platforms. They're begging to get regulated because
they started off with the Alex Jones or they started off with the Daily Stormer, moved to Alex Jones. Now they're moving into the very normie.
Right. Yeah. They took down the safe target. Daily Stormer is a safe target. Alex Jones is a semi-safe target, especially when he's in like 3 defamation cases and a copyright infringement case all at the same time. Then they go after Crowder. Next is Shapiro. What's next? Like Sean Hannity, the most boring commentator you can imagine.
They're trying to go after him and Tucker Carlson as hard as they possibly can.
They've been going after Tucker for a long time.
Yeah, and then they're building the momentum to do it. But I mean, that's you take a Hannity and a Tucker Carlson, these guys with this massive reach, huge audiences, and you start impacting them. They're begging to be regulated if the Republicans get any semblance of power. If the
That's their gamble.
Yeah. They have to do it fast enough to keep the Republicans from getting the House back and from winning in 2020. Because if the Republicans get House, Senate, and presidency in 2020, I think we do see something happen to the internet that a lot of people might regret.
It's certainly possible.
And I don't trust Republicans to do it right, but I think they'll take the first step. They'll fire the first volley, and it's gonna be weird. Duralex said Lex says the Tree of Liberty is long overdue to be replenished. Bring on the bad times. Honor and glory await us. No mercy, no respite for the enemies of mankind. See, that's what I was
the
talking
Emperor!
about. Nova Zero says, a gay man should be accustomed to being butthurt. Carlos Nazo is butthurt challenged. A reasonable person would conclude that he was undesirable, then tried to cure his incel nature and failed. Even Milo got some. Wow. That was a little personal. McGirt, I'm in the big time, says, no way this was executed in the last couple days. This is the 2020 election purge that they were already working on. Just revealed early due to favorable circumstances. What do you guys think about that?
It's
this is absolutely linked to it.
It's gotta be. This has been a theory that's been floating around for a long time. I've been hearing people say it in jest for a while now. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Although they didn't, if that's the goal, they didn't do it. They weren't super effective, right? Because Crowder still has a channel. And so
I think they demonetization as a way to dissuade creators.
I think so, but Crowder's not going to stop. And Maza knows this, right? Like he's hammering on YouTube for not going far enough. But Crowder's not going to stop creating content because he monetizes it in other ways very effectively. Plus, if he has an agreement with Blaze, he's making money on that as well. But they need to do takedowns if they need to do takedowns of entire channels if they want to be effective for the 2020 election. I'm waiting for them to take down congressional candidates in the 2 months leading up to an election. I think that's the spark that actually gets something done. But I don't know. They've
already ripped that Band-Aid off because they removed Paul Nealon when he was running his campaign against Paul Ryan.
Yeah. It's we'll see when the people in power feel like they're threatened. That's when things change.
Impetus.
Yeah. Let's see. Andrew Morgan says we have to do something substantial about this. Week-long boycott. Find an alternative site. No, again, YouTube loses money, and they lose a ton of money. Hitting them in the pocketbook isn't going. I don't think it actually will hurt YouTube. In all honesty. It'll send a message, but I don't know that the message will be effective. You guys might disagree with that. I don't know.
I think the fact that YouTube just keeps getting money funneled into it from Alphabet, there's no point in protesting it. They are never gonna feel. There's no way we can inflict a pain on them worse than $70 billion.
Yeah, it's not possible.
Only government action at this point can do anything to them. They're that big and powerful.
I've seen a lot of people saying they're canceling their Red subscriptions and all that. And I get it. And I think they'll get it too. But we're not going to put the hurt on them more than anything else.
Right. There's the amount of Red subscriptions that would need to be canceled to outweigh their perceived mitigation of advertising loss it's astronomical. It's astronomical. I don't think you're talking, you'd have to have 1 million people cancel their Red subscription.
And right. Even then, I don't know if it would do anything.
Yeah, that'd be what? That'd only be $11 million. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing on a YouTube profit and loss sheet. It's a rounding error. You need to impact them in with B's. With billions. And I don't know how you do it. I honestly don't know how you do it. It's gonna take some government influence, I think.
That's the only thing I could think of is if the Fed comes down and goes, you fix this shit or we're breaking the company up.
Yeah.
And canceling those lush military contracts at the same time.
Yeah, boy, they're enjoying those.
Hold on, I'm seeing if we have another guest here who might want to join, who might have a little bit of a different opinion. I don't know if he'll come on or not. We'll see. He's typing. Type faster. Oh my god. Oh no, he's not going to join us. I was talking. Josh sent me a message. Josh, of course, is a firm proponent of Section 230. Doesn't want it changed, and the obvious reasons that he wants to keep 230 is because he should fear what would happen if 230 doesn't exist for Kiwi farms, right?
Oh God, they would destroy him and his website.
And
Yeah.
so when I criticize, at first I was very much opposed to 230 because if you want to accelerate the end and a restructuring of the internet, removing 230 means that Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google go out of business tomorrow from the lawsuits. I mean, and I'm not even exaggerating. So if you eliminate 230 protection, everyone who has been defamed on Twitter can sue Twitter for the defamation. So that means you could have 1 million lawsuits tomorrow, and Twitter will not be able to respond to all of them. They will go out of business, and they'd be individual. They couldn't be a class action because the facts would be specific to each individual plaintiff. Same with YouTube, obviously. So I as an acceleration strategy, removing 230 ends the internet effectively as we know it, and it would require something being to replace it. Now, I don't think that that's going to work. I don't think it'll ever happen. So the thing is, we have to give websites an option to say we're either an open content platform that gets 230 protection, or we're not. And we're a closed content platform that curates and monitors things, and then we don't get 230 protection. I think that, some sort of section about that, something about if you hold yourself out as a public sort of forum like Facebook and Twitter have done over and over, even though they like try and deny it and then admit it the next day, then you can't have 230 protection if you're censoring people. That's just the way something has got to give. I do think 230 protection belongs on places like a Kiwi Farms, right? A small site that cannot possibly do it. But Facebook has said that they monitor every post that's put out, either algorithmically or manually. And so
By their own definition, it makes them a publisher.
right, by 230's definition, says it's because they cannot possibly monitor all content. Well, here they are saying they can and do. Well, now go get rid of it for them, not for everybody else. I genuinely think 230 has a place with because not every website has that infrastructure and shouldn't have to. But these monolithic monopolistic companies, we need to open them up because they are the public square. And they've taken on the role of government in that way. So, okay, so find an alternative. This is a continuation from Andrew Morgan. Find an alternative site. I almost want to abandon YouTube, but that means losing out on you and others that don't have outside sites. What do you think is the best for us to do? Be vocal about it, right? I guess our voice. I think our voice matters than our dollars on something like YouTube, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's one of the few places where your money doesn't impact them in the same way that just the publicity and the voice behind everybody does. So other than that, lobby your politicians. Senator Hughes of Beard Harris Bullock and Hughes had actually had a proposed bill I got to talk to him the other day. It was really, really fun. He had a proposed bill in Texas that got shut down at the last second for the way politics works is really annoying. But they had a proposed bill that would allow people to actually pursue lawsuits against major social media companies. And it would effectively strip that protection from them in Texas and only for giant platforms. And it was ready to go. It flew through the Senate, I think unanimous support from both Republicans and Democrats. And then it got to the House and it died in a committee there. And it was a stupid reason why. But it's weird. But yeah, we've got to talk to politicians. Big enough markets impose restrictions on these companies, and really, it might be up to foreign entities to do it in a weird way. You know, well, no, not really, because these companies operate under U.S. law. So I don't know. We gotta lobby our Congress people to change it. But it's all vocal. It's anyway. I like the Spike Man says DSP1. I don't get it. Who's DSP? Is that
Dark Side Phil?
Yeah, Dark Side Phil. How did he win? Did he want this? Is that his?
I think just by virtue of him somehow being able to obtain money while everybody else is losing theirs.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Dark1005 says, "Hey Nick, how does it feel knowing that Shane considers the two of you like fighting brothers?" No. There's also a rumor that he keeps a life-size body pillow of you to keep him company at conventions. That I believe. No.
That should be the next thing up on your shop, a Dakimakura of you.
I unironically would have one if Teespring had one available.
Yeah, didn't you tweet about that a couple days ago?
It was longer than that, but yeah, I would love to sell body pillows of me. That would be great. I'd buy one.
Just cuddling with myself over here.
Queen Nida says, if Facebook and Twitter are a public square or space, doesn't that put them under the eye of the federal law for prohibiting free speech based in actual discrimination? Omega Thunk. It doesn't, because of Section 230. They're immune from it. Otherwise, it would. If they were a newspaper or a magazine or a book publisher or a comic book publisher, anybody producing traditional media, and they did the same thing, they'd already be done. They'd already be sued into oblivion. Their publisher status would have exposed them way too much, and they'd be over. So there's that old case, Marsh versus Alabama, and the Supreme Court would need to specifically reaffirm Marsh versus Alabama because it was defeated by my cuck state because they wanted to protect the Mall of America. Do you guys know that the Mall of America is owned by Iranian-born Canadians?
What?
I did not.
Yeah. The Mall of America is owned by Iranian-born Canadians. So there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. So because of that 230 protection, and because it's still the same as it was in 96, and again, it doesn't need to be gone necessarily, but it needs modification. Otherwise, if Marsh versus Alabama got reaffirmed, 230 protection wouldn't matter anymore at all. They would no longer have the ability to ban people. And I think that's all anybody wants, right? Like, even if you remove content, okay, but you can't ban the creator. I think, isn't that enough? Is that enough? That's a compromise I'd take, right? Where they say, okay, look, this video was really, really racist of you, and we can't have you doing that. So we've got to remove the content because we don't want that up on our site. It's too offensive. But you're not removed. You're not demonetized. Just that content is gone. Is that a compromise we would take? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's not one I would want to, but at the end of the day, it's better than getting completely removed off the platforms and getting demonetized altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it either, but I'd take it over the fear of being completely unpersoned tomorrow. I guess that's where I'm at right now. It's like the abortion argument, right? They're the people who want to ban all abortions, including what some people would say are medically necessary or emergency abortions or whatever. And then there are other people who are like, can we just ban the convenient ones first and we'll worry about the other ones later? That type of argument, I guess. It's like, get to a place where we're all safe from being unpersoned, and then we can take that next step. I think the right has had such a history of going for the end goal or nothing, where the left has been the baby step party or the baby step political spectrum. And
except they don't like baby steps.
They don't, but they take them,
Right.
Like, it's because it has been this slow burn since the 60s, really. that's been just building and building over 50 years. Well, probably since the 20s, I guess. If you listen to Glenn Beck, right? It was Woodrow Wilson. That was the 10s, wasn't it? Anyway.
Yeah, and then it was eventually after World War II, the Frankfurt School, and
yeah, and the integrating journalism into the White House press corps, all of that stuff. Anyways, Scream of Cthulhu says, this is salting the field for 2020. Trump's base will be minimized, obfuscated, quarantined, or pushed to fringe platforms. The Dems will run on their last planks, climate change and immigrant amnesty before pushing socialism. Very possible. I hope they're not effective. Queen Nida says, these people don't understand that taking a person's ability to feed themselves and their loved ones is the fastest way to radicalize someone. Isn't that what they say over and over about the Middle East? Like, don't they unironically talk about the marginalization of people in the Middle East is what drives radicalization? Like, that's the media narrative, isn't it? Am I wrong on that?
pretty much.
Yeah, that's about it.
So they say it over and over, and then they practice it right away. This is how Christchurch happens, except I won't feel when leftist blood spills. So there you go. Elliot Joubert says, China is already doing the thing that you were talking about with the grocery stores and scanning your phone. Do a search for China social credit, and it'll scare the hell out of you. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Jessica Eustace says, why is the government dragging their feet with all of this? Especially denial of financial services because opinion? Isn't that insanely illegal? Why isn't it if it's not? It's like they're taking away your rights. Well, let me just suggest, what if MasterCard defunds Congress?
They'd do something in a heartbeat if that were the case.
Would they though? Like, that'd be tough. They'd have to nationalize the banks. And I mean, Congress might like that, but that's a bold play.
I think we've seen this one before.
Right. That's a dangerous step. And Congress knows it's a dangerous step. You nationalize the banks, and that's a step before people are showing up at Congress and with guns.
I think before that they would try to pass some law where they have to serve certain people.
Yeah.
Congress, knowing our Congress, they'd go, you have to take care of us. No one else.
I think they would try that, but I also think, well, and then all they would do is say, okay, we'll take that deal. But just know that, we'll just shut down. And then what are you going to do? Right? What do you do if MasterCard threatens to go away or move overseas or whatever and say, yeah, we just won't do business anymore? They wield and it's not just MasterCard, but these big companies, the financial institution wields an enormous amount of power because they process the payments, not just for you and me, they process the payments for DARPA as well, right? Like they're the literal military funding, the Social Security payment system. It's all processed by the same people. They process all of it. And if
you want to use a credit card, you're stuck using Visa or MasterCard or maybe American Express.
American Express has like a 7% to 10% market share, and they bill themselves as a more exclusive card for wealthier people, because they were so effectively ham-boned by Visa, I think it was, back when they tried to start up. It's an interesting prospect to me. I really don't know. That's end game type stuff in my opinion, because that's civil war that follows when people can't make payments at all, when they don't have it. Because then if everybody somehow, first of all, there isn't enough cash. Not enough cash exists for people to withdraw it, so they can't get their money. And then when they can't get their money, and even when they do, and they can't carry enough cash without being murdered for it, it's very, very terrifying.
Literal precursor to a war.
Right. This is what has happened over and over again. McGurd, I'm in the big time, says someone should do a breakdown of characters exchanged on social media versus the entirety of other means of communication. Same case for commerce. Functionally, the majority is web-based. Yeah, if I understand what they're saying, just basic like text, literal text put out on social media versus in traditional media. I mean, it's geometrically higher. Is that a word? Is that a proper word? It's a math term that I don't understand. Higher orders of magnitude. So yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. Dirk Lamont says, "Hey Nick, have you seen this website yet? Slur Machine Fun." I have not. Are you guys familiar with the Slur Machine?
Very familiar.
Oh, what does this do?
So what it does is it takes your favorite gamer words, so to speak, and it replaces them every single day with a new word. So one day, Dame Peso's favorite word that starts with an F was
Yeah.
replaced with destiny. You could call somebody a destiny, and they wouldn't know what it was unless they went to slurmachine.fun and looked up and typed in the word and says, "Oh, that's what it means. He called me Carlos Maza."
So it's a giant inside joke on the internet. That's
Yes.
great.
Yeah, all right.
And
that makes
it's all
sense.
Dick Masterson's fault.
Well, that's fantastic. I love
That's
it.
pretty funny.
RZEQDW says, God does hate figs. Jesus cursed the fig tree for like no reason. That's right.
No reason.
Actually, so I was in Texas the other day, and I went out to get ice cream at like about midnight, and I just turned on the radio in the rental car, and it was like it sounded like a Texas Pentecostal preacher from 1965 based on the recording quality. It was like, now I will tell you about Jesus right now. You know, they had that tinny sound to it, and and he actually talked about that specific verse, so that's kind of interesting. He was saying he was saying Jesus was cursing that fig tree, but I think we all know that Jesus hates figs.
Mm-hmm.
McGurd, I'm in the big time, says, great point about telecom lines. Also, air-based bandwidth existing in public right-of-way. Wasn't a bunch of civil rights / 14th Amendment incorporation based on commerce via public roadways? Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the Commerce Clause in general, where basically everything is interstate and foreign commerce and subject to regulation, according to Congress and the Supreme Court. So... Mithrin Emmer says there's free speech or precedent for free speech in privately owned public spaces. This is a case involving Jehovah's Witness and a company-owned mining town in the late 1800s. SCOTUS ruled they could not ban the Jehovah's Witnesses. Facebook beware. Yeah, that's Marsh versus Alabama. I was talking about that earlier. I've done a video on Marsh versus Alabama. If you guys really want to learn about it, you can actually search. It's one of the videos I did a long time ago before I had anybody watching. So if you want to learn more about that case, go check it out. Austin Heartless says, it sounds like it's time for a class action lawsuit against these platforms for political discrimination and First Amendment infringement. #figs gonna pay. I would rather see a bunch of individual lawsuits than one class action. Way more expensive and horrifying for them to have 10,000 individual actions rather than one class action.
Plus, you got to worry about arbitration clauses in their terms of service.
Yeah, all those arbitration clauses that we all voluntarily agreed for and love because we had so many options to negotiate them. Doug Zook says power structures trying to keep control. Megacorps want brands they control. Time to break them up. From micro to macro, it's all the same thing. Vic versus KickVic equals independent creators versus digital journals equals mainstream media deep state versus Trump. So there you go. Lil Littler says, read my super chats, Nick. Oh, come on. His next super chat is Niche Gur. There you go. Skeet Neat says, the scary thing about being autistic is seeing more and more people more mental damage than you are. Now we might have a race war because a small group of pseudos rot their brain on social media. Reddit is to be blamed too. Well, I think Reddit is to be blamed is true of all things. Don't know about you. God, I hate Reddit. I don't like it.
I don't use Reddit for anything past the no sleep section.
What's the no sleep section?
It's where they put all the creepypastas that I use for my creepypasta narration channel.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Like
This
that
Creepston channel on YouTube.
Like the Russian experiment where they lock the people in the room or whatever.
Yeah, Russian sleep.
Don't let them sleep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I actually just did that one.
Oh, nice. That's one I believe.
Yeah, that one's probably true.
Bald Eagle 1787 says the SJW is a coward. They have an intention of being Minecrafted for their ideals. Real people that value freedom will willingly be Minecrafted for what they believe in. That will make the difference when the war starts. There you go. Oh, they have no intention of being. Yeah. So they're saying they're not willing to die for their beliefs, and real people are.
Dude, I think your chat's going to revolt if you don't read Streamlabs. I've seen like 100 people say it.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to. Here we go. I'll do Streamlabs right now. And I actually did miss a couple of these yesterday because boomerism. So let me read all of those real quick, and then Streamlabs is coming. Or says, my parents are getting divorced, chugging a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 to not think about how the court case is going to go. At least they're not fighting over the dogs. Hey, sorry, buddy, that sucks. Roxas 1969 says, Nick's suggestion, a female Ricardo Montalban, not a female Cheech Marin. Oh, that was me trying to do a female Spanish impression last night, which was just terrible. Creepswork says, would you be interested in guest starring on my rarely done podcast? If so, we can iron out the details on Twitter or email. If not, that's cool. $3 well burned. I responded to you on Twitter, buddy, and yeah, we can work something out. Cult of Krill says, if you aren't subbed to Sinute, you're missing out on a great content maker. He also has a channel called Creepsin that does creepypasta. Subscribe to him and watch Gulf City cartoons. Also, YouTube would not let me send this via super chat. Well, that's weird.
Thanks, Colt.
Carlos says, on behalf of Carlos is everywhere, this Maza guy has disrespected our name and we disown him from the name Carlos. He is now known as Shane Holmesea.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Don't be ashamed, Carlos. Don't be ashamed. Nick's Beard says, feels good to be back. Okay, F these bastards. The left continually goes too far. They keep shifting the goalposts and are awakening a sleeping giant. They don't want what they are asking for. Do they want a civil war? Because this is how you get a civil war. There you go.
I do think that one way or another, we're going to end up with some big bloody conflict. And I think it's going to happen if Trump wins 2020.
Yeah, I fear you might be right.
I was reading one of the analysts. I forget the dude's name, but he's been right the last like 9 or 10 elections in a row. And he said the only way Trump loses is if he gets impeached.
It might be. They're doing everything they can to energize the base for Trump, right? And I did not vote for Trump in 2016. I'm strongly considering voting for him in 2020, just because I'm so. Well, one, in a weird way, he's doing a good job. Despite all of the things that I was worried about him doing, he's not really doing. So that, I mean, I guess that eliminates most of my problems with him. And also the alternative is terrifying. Although I'm in Minnesota, so I don't know if it's going to matter. We've been blue forever.
But considerably less blue in 2016 than you were in prior years.
Right.
That's true.
Right. But we went blue on Reagan. We were the only one.
Well, a lot of that had to do with the candidate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know, man. I do worry about what happens if Trump wins. I think he wins today. Just based on how things work out. I think when he wins, we lose the Electoral College. I think it's gone.
Well, they're already trying for it.
I know they're trying for it. I think it happens. I think it happens the moment he wins. So when
they'll have a hard time getting that past the Supreme Court, though.
No, they won't. I don't think so, because the states have we'll call it plenary constitutional authority to determine the method of choosing their electors. Under the Constitution, the states choose their electors. In theory, if California wanted to say only illegal immigrants can vote to choose the electors, I think they could pull it off. Because there's no guideline in the Constitution for how electors are chosen for the Electoral College. And that's what all the states, once a majority of states passes the idea that they will just assign their electors to not a majority. Once a 270 elector majority of states determines that they will assign all of their electoral votes through state law to the popular vote winning candidate, then the Electoral College is effectively abolished. There's nothing you...
As is the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're actually close. They're close to doing that.
What are they at now?
I don't know. They're only like a couple states away from having that happen. And if they do, we're, so
I want to say they're like a Texas-sized state away from getting it.
Yeah. Or I think they have California, but it might be like...
They do, yeah. California, New York, Connecticut, I think Colorado now. I think they tried it in Nevada, and I think it got vetoed.
But if they get like Pennsylvania and Ohio, they might have it, or Florida or something. They won't get Florida or Texas, but if they got
Virginia, I think they have Virginia.
So if they do that, then we need a constitutional amendment, period, to preserve the Electoral College. That's what it would take. And I do think they should do that. If Trump wins in 2020, especially if the Republicans take enough of the House and the Senate, they have to do a constitutional amendment to preserve the Electoral College, or I think we lose it. I think we lose it within his term. And he won't...
They're at 189 electoral votes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so if if Trump wins, I think, and it'll be state level law, the Supreme Court. I mean, I guess the Supreme Court could say something about it. That might spark a civil war too, though. Right?
We're just a powder keg waiting to go off, I think.
Yeah.
Like, we are all primed and ready. We just need that little push. And that could be it. It could be Trump winning. It could be Trump winning, then the Electoral College being taken away.
Well,
Yeah.
Just think about it this way. How many leftists have been pumped up with fake news about this Russia stuff? There are grown adults that think that Trump is some secret puppet of Putin, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So there are people that are literally going to see Trump winning in 2020 as Russia taking over the United States. That's an accident just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a scary place to be. In all honesty, like I know some people welcome the collapse and stuff. I've got 5 kids. I don't welcome the collapse. I don't want it. Not at all.
You got 5 kids?
Yeah.
You know you don't have to leave it in every time, right?
Well, says you.
That's true.
People keep telling me how to do this, but I'm good. I'm good with my methods. No,
He seems pretty successful on it. I don't think he's going to change a thing.
I guess you're doing all right then, huh?
I think we're actually done. I think we are. 5 is a lot of kids. Trust me. It makes everything very complicated. Love all of them. Wouldn't replace them for the world. But like buying the simple act of buying a car, or worse, having to repair your giant van and the dealership not having a comparably large vehicle is a nightmare. How do you drive around?
I got
ahead.
twins. My girls got a kid, and we have a big dog. I can understand that.
Yeah. It's a mess, man. They want to make smaller cars. I want bigger, more gas guzzly cars. I want 3 miles to the gallon. No, I'm just kidding. Actually don't. All right. MZ Aura says, if the DNCC is going to start swinging, they're going to test it on people like Sanders and Warren first. So just keep an eye on that, gents. What do you think they mean by that? So they're going to go after Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Oh, so like if the DNC is going to consolidate, they're going to push out the outlying voices. Is that the idea here?
I think they're trying to make it so the only predominant white person running is going to be Biden.
Yeah, it might be. Who do you think Biden's running mate is going to be? That gay guy?
I think he's being, pardon my usage of this term, but I think Buttigieg is being groomed to be Biden's vice presidential candidate.
That makes sense to me.
So if they like put a wig on Buttigieg and make him like look like a child girl, is he in danger from Biden? Like, is that what happened?
Run!
He's gonna get groped at every appearance. Hey,
he's gonna sniff his hair.
Come talk to Uncle Joe.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen, because what's he going to do? Say Joe's sexually harassing him?
Yeah, that's how Bernie still wins. I think. Crackbot says, since YouTube is considered a foreign company, could they pursue a tariff against them? YouTube is not a foreign company, as far as I'm aware. Google and Alphabet, isn't that just based in California? They operate under U.S. law, and their main base of operations is in California, so they're subject to U.S. jurisdiction. Do you guys know if they're? Why would YouTube?
They
I
do
assume
have
that.
offices in other countries, but they are primarily subject to the jurisdiction of the United States.
Let me see. I'm gonna see what their base of operation. So their headquarters is in San Bruno, California. Their yeah, I don't.
According to the Wikipedia page, Google LLC is an American multinational technology company.
Yeah, and YouTube is an American video sharing website headquartered in San Bernardino. Yeah, I don't know where they would consider it a foreign company. I don't see anything. And I'm not going to sit and read the whole thing, but it's very possible that they have offshored the LLC. But no, I don't think that would subject them to a tariff. Maybe, but they'd have to be they'd have to be they'd have to, I guess, tariff the. They have to put a tariff on the company import of video content. I don't know. I don't see how they'd effectively do that, especially since all of the stuff does run through the United States. That'd be weird.
Yeah, and offshoring an LLC from the United States, especially when you're in such a favorable position, would not be a smart move.
Yeah, that would be something I'd be very surprised with. Okay, Mark Cole says, I would caution anyone hoping for the GOP to come to the rescue. They are too boomer to understand the problem, and it would distract them from Israel and GDP. We could try to infiltrate them, but there's no time for that. Maybe.
It's tough to infiltrate the GOP too, because they have effectively like white blood cells that just reject any outside invader that tries to influence the party. That's what happened to James Alsup. He ended up, I can't remember exactly. I think he became like a committee chairman or something in his local district. They figured out who he was and they threw him out immediately.
Yep. I mean,
Wow.
they run with the same PR. The GOP and the DNC are the most strange entities in the United States. Because think about this. There's campaign finance restrictions on every major company, organization, everything, right? Nonprofit. They can only give it's like $2,500 per year to a candidate directly, right? Thanks McCain and Feingold or whatever. So they have that, except for the GOP and the DNC can give as much money as they want to whatever candidate they choose. Absolutely unlimited. Unlimited spending with direct coordination with the campaign. Why is that? Does the Green Party have that ability? I don't know if they do. I guess
The only reason I could think of is because they're the ones in charge, I guess. That's all I
They
could
have
think
these
of.
political action committees, and especially super PACs, because all of them have super PACs. And so super PACs pretty much can give an unlimited amount of money to any candidate they choose. I think the only restriction is that they can't overtly support.
They can't give the money to the candidate, and the candidate cannot have any influence over how they use the money. They can spend the money, so they can make commercials all day, but the candidate can't be involved in the commercials and doesn't have any creative or directive control over how they do it. That's different though, because the GOP and the DNC, as we saw with Hillary Clinton became the de facto leader of the DNC and directed the money into her campaign to be distributed by Hillary for America, right? Like that actually happened. And the same thing with the GOP. Once someone wins the primary, they get direct funding from the GOP, as well as Senate candidates and stuff like that. They can direct money into their campaigns directly. It's a weird thing. They get to bypass those laws. Yeah. Anyway, that was a tangent. Sorry. Forever229 says, I feel there should be a binding legal signed document that has to be signed to give a website the protections of 230 because Facebook and Twitter like to say they're a publisher or not, depending on the situation. Yes, they do. Well, we just might need the court to rule on that. That might just be the only solution we have there. Architect of Fate says, this may be the thing we need to affirm free speech on the internet. A new antitrust investigation just launched against Google and Twitter on the 1st. This may be what is needed. They just need to nationalize the Fed. Maybe.
Certainly audit the Fed.
They need to audit it. That's for sure. And the Fed needs to have transparency. I think full transparency. I don't know about nationalizing. I'm hesitant to nationalize a bank. I just am. Personally. Ryu Sketches says, hey, Nick, first ever $20 super chat to you. Hey, thanks, buddy. I just want to vent to you how most of my classmates can never be pleased. One student said that using the terms homosexual and queer is offensive. I hope that doesn't get you deplatformed. Yeah, that was an interesting thing I ran into in law school. One of my friends is a gay man, and I kept saying homosexual because I thought that was the non-offensive term, and he got very offended and was like, you shouldn't use that term. I'm like, well, what the hell do I call you? And he's like, well, just call me gay. So gay is the word, apparently. Although I thought that was the offensive one. I don't know.
It's all offensive.
Yeah,
don't worry. They'll change it 5 minutes from now.
Yeah, it's situationally offensive. Whatever's advantageous, I suppose. Brendo321 says, how can you have a Bill of Rights when the internet is open to the world and not beholden to a single government? You can't have laws apply to an American citizen that don't apply to, say, a British one. But we do, though. We absolutely do. And we actually have British laws that apply to Americans just because of the market size. So the British General Data Protection, GDPA or whatever, GDPR, I think it is actually how we do a lot of privacy stuff on the internet because Europe is a big market. I guess I don't know if that was UK or Europe who came out with it, but it's like the GDPR. And then, a lot of the internet's privacy regarding minors is directly from one California law, COPA. It's like Citizens Online Privacy Protection Act or whatever. A big enough market passing a law actually does have influence over how the rest of the world uses the internet. But the one thing to remember is that almost all of these companies, especially the big ones, operate directly under U.S. law. So we absolutely could have an internet bill of rights that's enforceable on the largest websites in the world. And then they would have to choose, if they want to do business in U.S. markets, they would have to submit to the internet bill of rights. And it's how they do it already with things like copyright and stuff like that. YouTube uses U.S. copyright law. They don't use English copyright law. So if you have a copyright claim, that's why you use the DMCA. No matter if you're Canadian or English or Australian or whatever, you use the DMCA, which is an American law. So, yeah, I don't. And Article 13 stands to ruin the internet for more than just the U.S. or more than just the UK. Big Red Bear says YouTube should be regulated. I think Crowder is a massive cocksucker. I genuinely dislike him to an extreme extent. I think he's a dishonest piece of garbage. He should 100% not have been attacked in this way by YouTube. Yeah, you can hate Crowder all you want. I don't care. But yeah, this type of stuff is what has to stop, right? But
well, that's the goal. Try to get a little bit more of an open air market for all creators.
Right? Shouldn't we all just have to stand on like how funny or handsome we are? Shouldn't that be it? Like that's how it is everywhere else. It's like, how much can you attract people to listen to you? However you do it. And there are lots of ugly people who have big audiences, right? Like everyone on CNN, hideous monsters. Yeah. Oh God, especially that lady Anderson Cooper. McGurd, I'm in the big time, says, comment about text exchanges on social media versus old means. The stats should prove the public square has moved online. Point of First Amendment wasn't to regulate King George III. It was to ensure free speech for viability of the state. I agree 100%. the spirit of the First Amendment is preserving free speech for all. At the time the amendment was passed, the only entity with the ability to effectively limit speech was the government. That's the huge difference that we have between then and now. Now, when these companies get together and say unperson Alex Jones, they've severely crippled his ability to speak. And just the threats of their terms of use produce a chilling effect on what we get to say. Which, if Congress did anything even close to YouTube, the Supreme Court would slap it down in a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. Even a liberal Supreme Court would do it because they'd be afraid of their own speech being stopped.
And they'd expedite it right to the Supreme Court too.
Oh yeah, it would be a very fast case. It would go straight there. Super Iron Bob says GDPR is an EU law, but Facebook and Google responded by segregating EU data to make the law only apply to those users. Well, you can do that if you're big, but smaller companies can't. Microsoft and a couple others operated like you described by following the law globally. Most small, as a as a cybersecurity law expert, let me tell you what the best practices are. I do have a certificate somewhere that says I'm a cybersecurity law expert, but it's mostly a joke because I would need to do a lot of reading to keep up. But basically, best practices are for a smaller or a startup web-based business that they would actually follow those laws. Because to segregate out that data would cost a massive amount. It's more infrastructure. If you have like 200,000 employees like Facebook and Google, when you're paying 20,000 people at Facebook to watch child porn and murder videos all day, you can afford to segregate out EU data. But yeah, most websites do have to that collect data on their users have to follow GDPR. But what do you guys? That's a side topic. But what do you guys think about that? Like that, there is a job at Facebook that is literally you watching child porn and snuff films all day.
I think that's a job with a high suicide rate, probably.
It's gotta be the most soul-crushing thing on earth.
Or they just hire sociopaths, just straight up sociopaths.
Yeah,
I don't think there's enough sociopaths to go around to clean out all of that junk.
Well, I don't know. Have you seen Hollywood?
You make a very persuasive argument.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, that's gosh, I can't even.
There was an article that came out about like Facebook contracts out to some third party, and they have people there that they literally have to train them how to not have an emotional breakdown when they deal with all of this stuff. And the article talked about how people would just go on their lunch breaks into the break room and just cry for an hour and then come back.
Yeah, how could you watch that? Like, I don't care how disassociative. What you'd have to have I'm not trying to slander people, but I think you'd have to have a personality disorder for the most part, or you'd have to have spent so much time on like horrific gore websites. And I've spent considerable time, right, exploring the gory aspects of the internet.
Are you saying that you're a connoisseur of the Pain Olympics there, Nick?
No, thank you. Thank you, no, sir. No, but like back in the days of rotten.com, I think, isn't gore.com one now, but just, you could just,
Rotten.com.
you can find terrible things on the internet, like people whose faces have been blown off by shotguns or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of gore out there.
Yeah, so it's but like I'm pretty desensitized, but man, I don't think I could do that for even a day. I don't think so. That's a bit much for me. So
Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Hell no.
All right. Well, I have hit all the big I've hit all the big chats. I'm going to go through the rest of them. But at this point in the show, I wanted to offer you guys the opportunity. Like, I don't ever want to make someone stay through all of the chats because they do tend to go on for a long time, and the show runs late. So if at any point you guys want to take off, you're welcome to. You're also welcome to stay as long as you want. But I do have a bunch of chats to go through. So I should warn you about that.
I'm good for right now.
Okay, good.
I'm good.
I'd much prefer you guys to stay, but like I said, I don't. You know, what am I? What am I? Some sort of commie dictator?
Maybe.
Hey, watch it. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? I'm going to start with these Streamlabs chats since I was getting just absolutely beat up on it. And rightfully so. Justifiably so. Yippee-ki-yay13 says, last time I sent you a chat, I was being induced. Now my baby boy's been staring wide-eyed at your streams every night. Not sure if you're a good influence or bad, but I hope a little bit of both. Oh, me too. That's nice. Thank you. Your child will grow up eloquent at insulting people.
Mm-hmm.
Knight of Hopex says, I'm a libertarian, but if they keep this up, we can play Game of Thrones too. I don't know if they know that. If they want to live in an authoritarian society, it's not going to be them or their communism we end up with. Keep it up, Google. Keep pushing us. Knight of Hopex follows up, says, it's not to do with Carlos Maza at all. There's a dry run for the 2020 election and censoring all the conservative channels. I wouldn't be surprised if Carlos was in on it, but they've been up to this off and on for the last 6 months, long before all of this. Russell T. Oh, you guys know about deep fakes, right?
Yes.
Do you know how terrified Congress people are of deep fakes?
They have had numerous congressional committees investigate them. They've had numerous like floor speeches about deep fakes. It's becoming a really hot topic all of a sudden for them.
Imagine they deep fake a child porn video of Joe Biden
Oh God.
a month before election.
I think you'd have a hard time convincing the public that it is a deep fake.
Yeah, you would.
You would, yeah.
There'd be no way to recover from that either. There's no way to head it off. They don't know what to do. I think that's, in a way, it's beautiful because I like seeing Congress terrified of everything. But how do you stop it? Like, you can put severe penalties. That's what they're trying to do. Put severe, at least in Texas, they're trying to put severe penalties on things like deep fakes. But how do you stop it? I don't know the technological way to stop a deep fake.
There's some minor things that you can do to detect it. But as the technology advances and gets better and better, it's going to be even harder to be able to tell when something's a deep fake or not. I think Congress is also equally concerned about the flip side too. What if their videos get out there? How can they convince people that the real stuff that gets leaked is a deep fake itself?
Yeah. Who was it? Someone was talking about we're coming up to the time where every person we elect into Congress will have nudes on the internet. Right? Like that's coming.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
It's like 30 years out.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd be surprised if there weren't AOC nudies floating around.
I know they
supposedly there was, but
no, it's a
I
deep
don't know if that was
fake.
ever
It was a deep fake, remember? Right?
The faucet one, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they say it's a deep fake, but how do again? Whew, the damage. What if there was a Carlos Maza deep fake out there? A Nambla styled one. That would be devastating.
That's going to be a no for me, dog.
It'd be a no from me too, but I mean,
run the hell away.
Here's the thing I don't think these people consider. They're taking income out of people whose lives involve video technology. One of them will have access to the ability to make a deep fake. If they take down the wrong person, we'll see how long Carlos Maza goes without having an extremely compromising video surface, right? Like that seems only logical. That's the war, isn't it? When you start taking people's money and they stop having sympathy for the fallout from that. And I don't think you recover if one's done right. That's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, imagine how many leftist journalists are going to get their. We've already had a couple, but imagine how many are going to get caught in the crossfire. Maybe one of them has something compromising on Maza, and he may, just lose all of that money and say, "I'm just going to release this now."
Yeah. What if one of his? You know what? If I were a cuck like Maza, involved in these weird open relationships with passing sexual encounters, there is no way in hell I would go after anybody. Because anyone finds one of those threesome or foursome partners that are jilted. I mean, who knows what's out there? You don't even need a video. You just need a story, right? Oh my goodness.
All he'd need is one person to come out there and say that they were a part of some like foursome with Maza and that one of the people was underage. They don't have to say how old they were. They just have to say underage, and it becomes a huge crap show.
How about I was 19 and he gave me whiskey and then we had sex?
You guys are assuming that this will be picked up on and reported on. This could just be as easily brushed under the rug as all the other things we've seen.
It could be, but it depends on how important Maza is to the bigger publications. But my point in all this is, I mean, if I were someone, and they do it all the time, right? But if I were someone sleeping around with other people, there's no way. Y'all, I am monogamous AF. If you ever see any video or picture of me with anyone, much less another woman, it's absolutely fake. Absolutely. But, you know, I don't know about Carlos Maza. See those weird threads, deviant behavior makes it kind of easy to accept the possibility, right? It makes that story, whether true or false, more palatable, I think. So,
I think you're right.
I think if you were a creator who maybe was making, say, $500,000 a year or more off of your YouTube channel, and this idiot got you demonetized, that you have a lot of resources to get something like that from someone. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. That seems like a bad play to me. Okay. Russell T. Shackleford says, Hard Bastard has been getting hit with the same porn bots this week. Don't know about other channels. HB noted the spammers are allowed to do things, spam and links regular users can't do. Perhaps YouTube subterfuge to disrupt channels they can't justify banning. Maybe. Because I get people complaining all the time that they can't post a link in chat. And it's weird, because I had not had links disabled until today. So that was weird. But maybe. Macho Dan says, here, Nick, have a super berry. Also, can I get a RRU from the Sweetie Squad? So, what was that, Sinatra?
Just giggling.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if the Sweetie Squad wants to throw out an RRU, that's up to you guys. CNN Slayer says Shane Meseberg. Night of Hopex says trust busting and monopoly regulation was a failure. Don't argue that garbage. The real argument. Well, I'm not arguing that it'd be effective, but that they're subjecting themselves to it. The real argument here is that Google is in bed with the government and gets lots of background control over the internet, effectively letting them regulate and veto their competition. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Tess Not on Holiday says, are you saying that Ted Cruz murdered Mark Zuckerberg by questioning him to death? Sounds like the Zodiac Killer is back at it again.
Did you see Ted Cruz post something about eating someone's kid?
No.
Yeah, it's a tweet. So somebody posted a picture. It was an edit of like a Ted Cruz bumper sticker or something, where it just says, this man, and it's at the bottom was edited to say, ate my son. Ted Cruz quote tweeted it and said, he was delicious.
That's a good Cruz impression, by the way. Yeah, no, I didn't see that one, but I saw his Halloween tweet, which was just a Zodiac note. God,
Yeah,
That was great.
that was great. That guy is setting himself up to be president, I think.
yes, he is.
My favorite Cruz thing was the Duke basketball player that looked just like him, and then going back and forth on Twitter about it.
him growing a beard is the best thing he ever did. Also, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, he doesn't have that creepy face anymore.
No, he looks like a guy who would throw on a camo jacket and go out in the woods and bow hunt something now.
Yes.
That's all it took was a stupid beard. Not even a great beard, just a beard in general.
Or wore brown robes and a lightsaber.
Yeah. He could definitely pass for Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
Use the Force, Luke.
Night of Hopex says, I come from a very conservative family with a dad that had political aspirations. The prevailing opinion among conservatives is that everyone on the internet is a degenerate or has a mental disorder. That might not be that might not be untrue. And normal, sane people don't conduct their lives online. That's gonna that's gonna change one death at a time, frankly. Mercenary X says Nick, Data, and Society is funded by George Soros. That spooey dude, if not behind it, is helping every bad thing possibly. He's pushing billions into every one of these censorship plans. There's a lot more than just this, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. And emphasis on the berg from the iceberg, apparently. Since it's Soros, that's a joke about Soros being Jewish. It's not a general Jewish joke. So please, Jewish people out there, don't email me complaining about a Jewish joke. It was a Soros joke. Okay.
I was watching one of iDubbbz's earlier videos today. It just happened to be in my autoplay. And in the beginning of the video, he starts trashing Jewish people. And I was like, how did he get away with this? He was calling himself a dirty Jew and a money grubbing Jew. And I was like, how the hell is he okay at doing this?
Because he has another video where he opens it with, I have crippling depression.
Yeah, that's true.
I have a couple viewers who have reached out to me concerned about me making Jewish jokes, which I don't do all that often. But and not like immediately rallying against the idea that Jews control the media or something like that, which I don't care what people believe about that. I think if you look at statistics and say that there's a lot of Jews in the, I actually don't know, but if you say there's a lot of Jews in charge of the media, there are probably reasons for that aren't necessarily Jew related, but it doesn't really matter. I don't care because I make jokes about everybody, but the only people who have really complained was a transgender person and then some Jewish people. It's like, guys, they're just jokes. Just relax. It's okay. It's okay. I'll make white people jokes. You guys know any good white people jokes? I think like white people, jokes about white people are boring. So I don't.
The most funny white person joke I've seen recently is some lady complaining about that little separator you put on the conveyor belt at the store. That's about it.
I think most of the best white people jokes are usually about rednecks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insulting my family. I won't do that. I won't make fun of rednecks. Actually, that's not true.
Insulting my family too.
That's not true. Someone said that something about during this thing, it was like YouTube is protecting their cousin corporations or something. And I said, yeah, and they're all from Alabama. That was a redneck joke. Because they have sex with their cousins in Alabama. No, Arkansas. That's what I said. Because they have sex with their cousins in Arkansas. I guess. I don't know. Probably wasn't a good joke.
Down there, they just call them kissing cousins.
Let's see. Where are we? Hessian says, check at GOP leader Kevin McCarthy's tweet about YouTube. YouTube seems to be more concerned with being a publisher than a platform. We'll see. Is the GOP more concerned about actually passing laws or just talking about it? That's the question.
Making money.
Night of Hopex says, you can't baby step free speech rights. The first thing you sign over to them ends up codifying their right to censor us. Well, that was done a long time ago, buddy. Let's not get in a hurry to compromise. People need to feel the pain and understand why we can't allow this kind of corporate behavior. If they have cat videos, I don't know that they'll feel the pain. Eyelid says, can you go into detail about what happened with the senator's proposal? It sucks something like that went away. Yeah, it was a libertarian who screwed it up. I was personally looking forward to it. It was a libertarian. Shame to say. Actually, a smart guy, but he came in and he scared the Democrats by being so overtly pro-freedom. And I'm not even saying that ironically. And then the bill ended up getting killed in committee in the House because of it. So, and there was also some political maneuvering that went wrong. It got assigned to the committee they weren't expecting it to get assigned to, which was Democrat-led rather than Republican-led in the House. And so they had a committee prep to like pass the bill, and then it went to a different one. So, political gamesmanship is often what controls the outcome more than anything else, and it's weird. maybe I can get him on. I'd love to have him on. It was my first time talking to him, and he's really, really a neat guy, and I think he'd be a great interview, but I don't know if he'll come on or not. I'm working on it. Mandark says Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, Compact Clause, should be able to determine the NPVIC is unconstitutional. The Congressional Research Service did research on this. Their look into it says the NPVIC is likely unconstitutional, violating the Compact Clause. What's the MPVIC? Any idea?
I'd have to look that one up.
Oh, I'll look it up real quick.
Oh, the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Well, hopefully we won't see. But I don't know. Violating the Compact Clause. I don't have encyclopedic memory of the well, let's just pull it up. Constitution Article 1.
Isn't that about 10. I believe that's about keeping of troops, right?
Hold on. I'll have it in just a second. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power. They wouldn't be in a compact with another state, technically speaking, or engage in war unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. I don't know. I mean, maybe, what was it? Which committee said that? The Congressional Research Service did research on this. Says it likely unconstitutional, violating the Compact Clause. I don't know if I believe that.
Because they all passed it independently.
Right.
That whoever, they didn't say if all of these states, they just said if the number of states that have agreed to pledge their electors to whoever wins the popular vote reaches the 270 threshold, then they will pledge their electors to that 270.
Yeah. And maybe it is unconstitutional. I wouldn't want to test it because you run up against states' rights issues. You run up against the state's clear constitutional authority to choose their electors in the way that they want. And I don't know. And I think that the amendment on states choosing electors, I think they have an amendment on it which would post-date the Compact Clause, which might nullify it. I don't know how the Supreme Court would interpret that. I really don't. I'd be curious, but I don't ever want to find out, in all honesty. So
I would be terrified that they would find that it's perfectly constitutional. That would be my nightmare clause there.
Yeah, me too. Keck7 Go says Carlos Maza should stick to embarrassing commies across the world instead of dragging LGBTQ people and Latinos into his insanity. It offends me that this man attempts to use people like me as his shield. F you, you fig. You disgust me. Strong words from Keck. Crusader Saracen says, my family already suffered from one civil war, and I'd rather them not suffer another. Refugees from Cambodia / survivors of the genocide. But if authoritarians try to take our rights again, then all I can say is welcome to the rice fields, mother effer. Mother figure.
Welcome to the rice fields.
Mexican Man and Cheese says, hey, Nick, I hear a lot of people talking civil war, and I feel it too, but conservatives talk a big game. For the last 3 years, I've been hearing this is the last straw, but I only see one side wielding bike locks.
That's true. Also, hi, Mexican Man and Cheese.
I think the conservative answer would be because we're not wielding bike locks, we're wielding guns, and people will die. But I that could be bravado as well. I don't know. I can never tell if it's bravado or if it's serious. And again,
I think self-control has to play a little bit of a part in that.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, we should roundhouse kick all anti-abortion advocates. I'm with that guy up in Canada, I think. There's a well-executed tongue-out roundhouse kick.
Jordan Hunt is the real savior of women.
that move was, oh my God. Mercenary says, that wouldn't be a Jewish joke of any sort. Streamlabs just ran out of space. But seriously, Soros scares me. The guy literally was helping the bad guys in World War II, and he was proud of it. Yeah, he's a weird guy. He's terrifying. Internet Tab says, the figs is a reference to La Higuera, the fig tree. The village Che was captured and subsequently killed in. Figs Richard Ty says Maza and his goons have successfully made Square deactivate Crowder's account to sell his t-shirts. Well, that was nice of them. Rando number 9 says gas all the figs, not in Minecraft, but in real life. The cocky Onsai says on time and Carlos Maza's boyfriend. Hey. Forever229 says Leighton Fig. Sure shot, thanks for the donation. Alexandra says any sort of detrimental reliance argument that demonetized creators can make against YouTube for vague and arbitrary enforcement of nonsense terms of service. Maybe. It really hasn't been. I think Alexandra is a lawyer or a law of some sort. But it really hasn't been effectively done. And I feel like if this would do it, it could have been done before. Now, maybe no one's just brought it. I don't know. Detrimental reliance on the terms of service. Maybe the amount of money that YouTube pays out is actually the weapon here, right? Because you get some of these creators making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars a year, losing that money, and say, how can you suggest we did anything other than rely on their terms of service to our detriment? It's an interesting theory. I think they just ignore it, unfortunately. But I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to explore it more. I'd love to see some case law that would be out there to support that. You're a Claude one. Yellow Pearl, I am LH, says, I went to the store to buy Fairlife, but they were out. I got Lactate instead. Tasted good. Thank you for the advice. First time from a lawyer. The $10 I forgot to give you to buy sugar for the Kool-Aid. Oh, thanks, buddy. Fatman56 says, oh, Nick, this is the 4th adpocalypse been happen 2016. Guns Down in Hail says, Nick, YouTube just made a blog post and it's crap. Yeah, I think that's about their new terms. Comic-Con Freak says, YouTube took down my playlist for violating community guidelines, but it only contained favorited videos uploaded by other channels. It happened twice. So your playlist violated the community guidelines community guideline strikes or whatever. That's weird. I don't know how YouTube does. Their stuff is strange.
It's all automated. So they saw something that they flagged and said, oh, this is bad. We got to get rid of it.
Yeah. Talbot Link says, kick Vic sending in the bots because they respect Whammon. I don't know if those links...
That's a lot of respecting.
I think those links might really respect the hell out of some women. Dewey666 says, is it time to lawyer up and sue Alphabet? I don't know. See, here's the question. Do we put the pain on the companies or do we put the pain on the people? Man, I think... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, there's a saying that people hurt faster. If you want to abide by that,
suing Google is like suing all of the money on Earth. That's the problem, and you can't take a fight against Google very public because they can just go ahead and suppress the search results for it and suppress the videos about it.
That's true.
When I covered the Google lawsuit, I swear the Damore lawsuit, my channel got some custom treatment from Google in the search results on google.com. Because if you searched on google.com and clicked on videos for Rekieta Law, you got someone else's video with 1,800 views over videos of mine with 50 to 100,000 views. Over videos I did on channel, like when I had a guest spot on Anthony Fantano's show early on, all of my guest appearances on the Kill Stream, all much bigger channels than this one, but that one was negative about me, and that one stayed at the top of the list for over a year, and no amount of SEO would take it down. Only early this year, when my channel really took off, did I overcome that. And of course, the Damore lawsuit was a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know how you go about suing Google. I think you sue, I do think you sue Maza on a tortious interference and defamation sort of idea. Tortious interference and defamation, like I'm seeing it everywhere now, and I think it's because we're writing everything down, and suddenly we can prove all of this stuff really easily. I don't know. Suing Alphabet sounds like bring your wallet. Oh, and better not try to crowdfund it because good luck getting your crowdfunding shared.
Yeah.
Ichicinco says, read in the proper tone if you know the meme boomer. No, I don't. Ty says to Ron, I'm Tyrone Beard, and I'm here to sue your wife, law book style. That sounds
I'm
like...
Ty Beard, and I'm here to sue your wife, law book style.
Okay, there you go. I'm not familiar with the reference, but I'll take it. Stabby McStabwood says, YouTube won't allow free speech, but thought bots are okay. Bad Dragonite says, guy had his channel hit for capitalizing his title. Really? Who did that?
Yeah, I didn't hear that at all.
The despised user says, Theodore Ebenezer Doozer here. Love Sinatra's videos. And Nick, why did you make Vasquez into Aladdin's genie Peter Lorre impression in last night's stream? Don't change it. Also, don't forget my email. I won't forget your email. I don't know. I was desperately trying to find that voice, and I'm still not happy with it. I don't know. I ended up on like Slow-Mo Rodriguez, Speedy Gonzalez's slow cousin, to voice
senor.
to voice a Spanish woman. That's what I picked. Get ready for Alex.
Get more lemon pledge.
Get ready for Alex Louis Armstrong. Sinatra, love your Creep Sins videos. Hello, Nick. Hi. ISJ322 says, they came for the white nationalists first and you were fine with it. Now you're starting to care now, but it's too late. You're all Nazis. It's over.
Oh,
no,
thank you to whoever said that, by the way.
Yeah, but I actually did care. I cared when they came for the white nationalists too, personally. Midnight Link says, thanks to you, all my ads are now freaking lawyer ads on YouTube. Sorry, buddy.
Nice.
Wyatt Whitman says, left news to follow Vic. Now this fig shiz, SMH. J.O. Trillo says, here's free super chat, courtesy of YouTube. Thank you. Ichicinco says, someone please make this beard meme and tweet Nick so he can retweet it. Feeling cute. Might sue you for defamation later. I don't know. We'll be in touch. So there you go.
That sounds like a shirt.
Yeah, Saint Cred Zero, thanks for donation. Gulf City Cult of Krill says, YouTube censored my big super chat. So slab dono, SLAB dono. There you go. Thanks. Rando number 9 says, it's a shame that Keemstar and Boogie 1488 chimed in on this whole situation before Philly D. Pretty pathetic, to be honest. Why? Oh, because Philly D. I guess he's saying it's pathetic of Philly D not chiming in on it. I don't know.
That's what I took away from that.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, normally Philly D is like one of the first people to comment on this kind of stuff.
I see. Well, maybe he doesn't want to have his channel struck. Because I bet he makes a lot of money on YouTube.
Probably.
Werex says, I got to rent this apartment because my landlord required me to have Facebook so he could check what I was up to. Had I not had Facebook, ... Yeah. Landlords can already do that. That's amazing. I didn't even think about that. A Spooky Ghost says, I, Nick Rekieta, am a raging fig. Rude. Talbot Link says, never know you hate figs till you try one. Finn Frog says, here's some Fig Newton money. I'm so mad. I was at the store today. I was going to get Fig Newtons and actually smash them with my gavel on the stream. And I completely boomered it up and forgot. Gravy Donson says, throwback to Jesus cursing a fig tree for being out of season. God really does hate figs. Harbinger 340.
There you go, Crowder. There's a free t-shirt idea for you.
Yeah, you just have to put the Bible verse on there, right? For God hates figs. Harbinger 345 says, brother, get the flamer. The heavy flamer. Pincalo,
Get the Flammenwerfer.
Pincalo, the driving ape man says, happy birthday, Sinatra says. Hashtag AHBW. Is it your birthday, man?
It's always my birthday to these people.
Oh, okay. Well, happy
These
birthday.
animals, everything I do, it's happy birthday, Sinatra.
Got Norse Fenrir, I see.
Yeah.
Mist Howler says, search fig wasps. It's another reason to hate figs. No. Nope. Josue Tavares says, yo, chat, what I miss. Ink Penification says, I donated to the chair GoFundMe as Shane Holmberg.
Amazing.
Jessica Eustace says, destroy that like button, figs. There's 5,000 watching. Ink Penification says, did you see the video I linked in your DM? It's Weeb Wars Power Rangers edition. I have not seen it now. I'll have to go back and look. Timothy Reaper says, YouTube hates its mother. Bagel Goose says, Gator, send me your toes.
What the fuck?
He usually means send me pictures of your toes. But that was pretty specific. I think, Gator, you have to chop off your toes and send them to Bagel Goose.
I am uncomfortable with this.
He paid
You
two,
don't do those, do you?
he paid $2. What are you gonna do? Not do it? What are you some sort of Carlos Maza? No, I'm just kidding. Joseph Green says, I do Uber Eats delivery at night and I use background play to listen to your stream, Nick. I believe background play needs to be a bigger thing. Me too. John Hauser says, the problem, hurting YouTube will hurt creators. That's true. And so, that's
people chat are now saying send those toes.
someone
pictures.
someone messaged me today and they deleted their YouTube account. So, you know, technically I lost a subscriber from that, even though they still consume the content. But I did lose a subscriber. That is a weird risk with all this. Is like a boycott of YouTube is a boycott of the creators who are on YouTube as well. So it's weird. It's a weird place. We're all YouTube's bitch, so to speak. We being the creators in some way. Ben says donating just because of the ballsy title. Hey, thanks, buddy. Super Captain Chris says hurting YouTube hurts creators, but we need to think seriously about a scorched earth policy. Rocky Top Otaku says, seeing a fig tree by the road, he went over to it, but found nothing on it except leaves, and he said to it, may no fruit ever come from you again, and immediately the fig tree withered. Matthew 21:19. You're a Claude one, Yellow Pearl.
That's a little wordy to put on a shirt, I think.
Yeah, that one is. You just say, Jesus says, yo, fig tree, use a bitch. Matthew 21:19.
That's better.
Yeah. Your Claude One Yellow Pearl says, hey, Nick, quick request. The 6th is my birthday. Can you sing this in 1,000 Miles style as Slowpoke Rodriguez, making me way to Texas town, walking fast, fences pass, and I'm border bound? Thank you so much. No. I'm not gonna Vanessa Carlton as Slowpoke Rodriguez. That's weird. Tank Theta says, we need to do more than this. You said last time that the right doesn't know how to organize. Well, now we need to mobilize before it's too late and hit YouTube hard. Group fund lawsuit, reinforce freedom. I think you're going to have a hard time crowdfunding that lawsuit. I really do. Because I think you're going to have a hard time getting it around. Once it starts getting traction, YouTube will fight against the crowdfunding. It'll be memory hold. Harder than Carlos Maza's memory hole.
You beat me to it.
Oh, sorry. Andrew Quiroga says, I'm looking for my fig brother. Jacob Ceresia says, were you surprised about the sanctions motion? #sad. A little bit. A little bit. That judge is a cuck, and he deserves to get Minecrafted. Chris Kennedy says, please get Crowder on here if you can. That's a big ask, man, but you know, I'll ask him. Lil Littler says, speaking of censorship, Gator loves to ban people that make fun of him. A Rick-tatorship is common with a Rick-gatorship. Nick, separate yourself from him. Well, this
is some real esoteric levels of autism. Basically, he's part of a group of people that went after Ralph monetarily, tried to go after his patrons and supporters to get Ralph demonetized, and he's upset because they got banned from the Discord for that. These are grown men that are having a histrionic fit over being removed from a Discord for their gay ops.
Well, there you go. That's
how embarrassing.
Hey, wait a minute. That's trademarked. Lil Littler says, I don't know how anyone of sound mind and body can listen to a fat luchador LARPing as someone who cares about someone being censored. Gator. So, yeah, he does not like you. He sent a bunch of chats.
I'm glad he's giving you all this money to talk shit about Gator.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, thank you for your patronage.
Kuro Tengetsu 91 says literal exploitation of political dissidents. Yeah. Lil Littler says, if we want the answer for unlimited energy, you just have Gator and Ralph's Gunt to touch just once, and if my theory is correct, both could cure alcoholism. So there you go.
Sadly, Gunts don't produce enough heat yet. The science is still being worked on.
Yeah, because technically, like the blood flow as the stomach would expand would be reduced, right? So it would have less heat generation. So yeah, I guess that neutralizes that theory. Lil Littler says, speaking of tagalongs, Gator hit that soundboard. Alexa, play bottles.wave, sponsored by Gator's lack of willpower to pretend to be Jim. I'm telling you, man, he is not happy with you.
Can we get a count of how much he's given you just to shit talk Gator?
There
It's
are
$40 so far.
There are 3 more. Well, it was okay, so it's 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 bucks. So there you go.
Gator, you're gonna have to start coming on my stream sometime.
Right? I show up and it's just like,
Wait, you have a soundboard?
always.
Okay, here we go. Reek says, evening, Nick. Hope all is well. Here's some whiskey money before it's hopefully not all gone. Thanks, buddy. No, I just got 2 new bottles of whiskey, so I'm doing great. Lil Littlers says, Cuck Commander, hey Flamenco. Ralph needs you to do an emergency scrub down the rash from the Chernobyl level of sides festering from his gunt. Lil Littlers says, Gator, quick question. Was it before or after Ralph laid his gunt on your back when Nora watched that you guys became best friends? Hashtag Rictatorship. And here's the last one. Lil Littler says, Gator hit that soundboard, pulls MD 2020. Awa, rest in peace. I don't know that one. So there you go. There you go. Okay, next is Moist John says Prager was too pro-Israel for even YouTube's taste. Wow. Super Sentai guy says the tree of liberty from time to time must be fertilized with the blood of patriots. George Orwell. Nick's oh, did I miss this one? Butthole Weeb says, let me on for a few minutes. Just got off Doug's stream. Miss you, brother. You guys are fascinating. Well, we're about to wrap up. So, but, Butthole Weeb, I am going to talk to you after the show about an anime
what
stream.
Fantastic name.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Oh, by the way, since he didn't ask yet, Sinatra, do you eat booty?
Not regularly, no.
Ooh. That's the spiciest answer to that question we've ever gotten. You're welcome, Butthole Weeb. So there you go. Chris Hardcastle says, new to the channel, but have watched each stream religiously for a month. You, sir, are creating something special. You're giving me a reason to laugh instead of fume at as these shoe eaters and their tiny minds. How embarrassing. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Shoe eaters. I'm going to write that one down. I'm stealing.
Oh, you might not know this guy I had on my show. Shane Holmberg. He's been mentioned a couple times. The chair molester.
Yeah, I know who it is. I just don't know the full lore behind it.
So in the background of the video where he's arguing with me, there's literally a shoe on a cutting board in his kitchen. And I thought that was a joke. Like I thought that was like a blender and it just kind of was just, fuzzy resolution or whatever. But someone asked him about it and he said, no, it was a shoe. It was up there because my dog might eat it. It's like, wait, so you're going to eat it? And where's the other shoe?
Yeah, that's the first question I would have.
Why is there only one? These usually come in 2s. These usually
Maybe
come in
he only has 1 foot.
Maybe Goodwill only had one of them. And he was like,
Right.
that is
Obligatorily talking so that this Shane meme will pop up on screen.
Hold on, I'll put it up. The cookbook. Traditional shoe dishes made tasty and quick. Fantastic. With the soy milk. Oh, yeah. So Sinatra, in the middle of the debate, he unironically gets up from his chair. That's when we found out it was just this abused poor thing. All of the leather stripped off by presumably his naked sitting on it. And he goes to the fridge and pulls out the soy milk and pours a glass right on stream. Whew.
That is fantastic.
And then when I started super chats, he left after like the 8th one straight, called him a beta.
I could imagine he wouldn't want to stick around for that.
No
wonder someone wanted to start a GoFundMe for his poor abused chair.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Double T says Philly D was quick to bash the Covington boys, but now hesitates to comment on Maza. Screw Philip DeFranco. He's more reactionary than Shapiro and more milquetoast than Crowder. Ooh, fighting words. For him, I don't care. Nick's Adult Like Beard says, my last free chat I canceled earlier today. Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Samuel Montana says, have a good night, everyone. My anime convention trip starts in the morning. Going to Sacramento, California. Have fun, everyone. Hey, have fun with that.
Have a good trip, buddy.
Gulf City Cult of Krill says, read your justice chat. I did. Thank you. Danny Agent 87 says, Carlos D pics are now public and confirmed cuck. Yep. Again, don't go out talking if you've got something like that on the internet. Not a good plan. Fluffy Side Up says, in my honest opinion, people need to stop using their race, sexuality, and religion as a crutch. Those things don't define you. Take pride in them, but take more pride in being an individual person. That's how things should be. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. Why would you say that just because you're with guys or just because you have a mental disability and think you're a different gender, you're somehow free from people disagreeing with you?
Yeah. The other thing is, how pissed off would you be if people walked around with hetero pride, right? Like, it's the same as the race argument. Having white pride is not okay, but any other pride would be fine.
That was actually trending on Twitter, was a straight pride parade. And people were like, Nazis this, Chick-fil-A that, just every response you could think of was in there.
The mere act of overtly identifying yourself as heterosexual is offensive to some of these people. That's what blows my mind, like the double standard. Skeet Neat says, when will that monopoly law kick in, Nick? No, probably not anytime soon. Especially when you have the Republicans and the Democrats, the main groups of them being largely okay with it. We kicked the British out and won World War II, so I'm glad that I was born in a country that fought for rights. Pretentious, yes, but I'm still happy. Architect of Fate says, what would you do if a Count Dankula body pillow showed up at your house? People aren't bringing it up, but he was the next step after Alex Jones. I don't know. I guess I'd stand it up behind me or something. I'd be more interested in his Nazi pug throw pillow.
Yeah.
Carrie Dalton.
Dankula.
He should really make that. Carrie Dalton says, check out at Woko Harambe thread on Twitter. Lays out exactly what Carlos and his friends did today. It's called power mapping. Jay Moore says it. What was that?
No, I just coughed, sir.
Oh, okay. Jay Moore says, except they will decide what is racist. John Sargent says 230 needs to be defined and enforced. Oh my goodness. I agree. Thank you. Kohath says, no, then you can say that about something else. I don't remember what that's a response to. The DCV Titan says, can we just let people have abortions and call them pieces of shit? If we feel it was unnecessary, then go our separate ways. Is it really that hard? I don't know. My perspective has been that the state has a duty to protect the right to life. And so, that's my thing. One of my problems with abortions is that the state has defined the right to do it in a way that that is especially reserved right for only a particular class of people. No one else gets access to it, and that is inconsistent to me. Do you guys have an unlimited right to privacy between you and your doctor that the state can't interfere with? Because pregnant women who want to kill their babies do. No one else seems to. So it's weird. That's my problem with it is legal. I actually don't have too much of a problem with like abortificant drugs that women would take themselves. Like I'm not against the pill or anything, but when you involve a third party, that in every other area of law, when you involve a third party, the state gets a say, and so it's kind of weird that in this one they don't. Talbot Link says, I mentioned the slur machine weeks ago. Oh, you did. I remember that. Sorry. RW Bimby says, Supreme Court prune yard, private businesses forced to allow lefty protesters on business property. If Trump Twitter's public, Twitter can't ban the public. Well, yeah, but the Supreme Court hasn't actually ruled on that. That was a district court decision, so we'll see how it goes on appeal. Cars in Depth says, Nick, I'm Jewish. Where's my bank? I don't know. You need to talk.
Around your neck.
It's around your neck, did you say?
Jew gold around his neck.
Oh. You have to talk to the people who have the banks, I guess, and ask them for one. Dragonar93 says recommended reading the book Liberal Fascism. The left has been doing this BS since the late 19th century. Carbonite says, should I drink Wild Turkey, Jack Daniels, or Willet? Willet Reserve. Why Testify says Nick lives in Little Somalia, LMAO. Kind of, I suppose. That's Minnesota. It's actually specifically a city I live right by would be considered that. Timothy, we took a lot of refuge, or they took a lot of refugees in before I moved here. Timothy Reaper says Sinatra should have Nick help him with the voices in a creepypasta.
Could be.
Well, let me know if you're interested. I do some voices. I don't know. Plum Logan says, remember, if this blue state agenda of giving all electoral votes to the popular winner, then blue votes for the Republican will matter. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got.
What they're banking on is it goes the exact opposite direction.
Yeah.
Because if California has to give their electoral votes to a Republican, then you'll see them try to repeal that real quick.
Right. But we have a significant deficit with California cities. So we'll see. I don't know. Micus Miller says, of course they have 5 kids. Have you seen Lady Rackets? Oh, that's a nice compliment.
No, I have.
Super Captain Chris says, look up Yuri Bezmenov. Crits. Oh, damn it, YouTube. They just jumped out. Crits8830 says, fortunately, I live out in the sticks. Unfortunately for anti-Trump people, I am certain they will be outmatched by Trump supporters, both in firepower and experience. That might be true. Bob, I've seen those noodly armed Antifa guys, though, carrying around rifles. I'm very terrified of them. Bob Newbie, Lord of Noobs, says, what do you think of Tencent and their shenanigans? I don't know anything about this. Do you guys know about Tencent?
No, I don't know.
They're a Chinese company that owns quite a lot of vested interest in a lot of game studios. For instance, Epic.
Yeah, they own Fortnite, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not privy to specifically what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the Quartering did a crazy video today where EA has a patent to increase the difficulty in pay-to-win games based on how well you're doing or something. Like if you're not paying enough, it gets more difficult to incentivize you to pay. I haven't watched it yet. I just kind of saw that headline. If that's true, that's crazy. Deleted said, listening while I clean my local VA. Keep it up. Hey, thanks, buddy. Sergey Veslov says, as a guy that did that, being socio helps a little. Oh, I'm guessing that's watching the videos at Facebook or whatever. Hats off to you, buddy. Yeah. Moist John says, Facebook content mods abuse substances and have sex under the stairwell to cope with the content. It was published in an article on The Verge. Yeah, I remember that. Because I think one of them sued Facebook. Infernal Iris says, what do you think about Japan demanding YouTube hand over all personal info on manga review content creators? Yellow Flash covered it. Scary stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. Since there's no fair use or anything in Japan, all the people who cover manga are now subject to copyright issues.
Well, that's lovely. Yeah, I don't know. Did YouTube hand it over?
I don't know if they actually did or not. I just know that they were going for it.
Gosh, if I was a website in some country came to me and said, I demand this, I would just, yeah, they'd get the Kiwi Farms treatment.
Right.
Philip Callan says GDPR has been used the past year to force game companies to supply user data after banning and led to mass unbans with Guild Wars 2 and BDO. Oh, that's cool. I guess that's a good use of it. Altira Moongara says the strange and wonderful thing about the deep fake problem is that the best way to counter it is a thinking, skeptical public, exactly what the left doesn't really want. James Bay says Oregon joined the Popular Vote Act with California. Midnight Link says, as someone from Arkansas, I take offense that I don't F my cousin, just my stepsister. Just kidding. Love you guys. Keep up the work for Vic. Ishailson says, my buddy talks about a civil war a lot and always concludes that in the end it will be anti-gun people versus gun lovers, and we know how that'll go. Stan with Vic says, did you talk about the BHBH logo wall thing? Photoshop? That was just from the Beard Harris Bullock and Hughes front office? I was just there. I took a picture of it. That's it. I don't know. I don't know why. Okay, so I went to a law firm. I was down in Tyler, Texas. That's where Beard Harris Bullock and Hughes, the lawyer for Vic, is. I've been to their office before. I went to their office again, and I took a picture and posted it. And like, Pretty Ugly Little Liars had a spurge out because I guess they thought it was photoshopped or fake. First, they thought I was hiring them to be defended because I got sued or arrested or something. These people are weird, very strange. But yeah, so everything has to be conspiracy. I guess so. I wasn't there is the idea, so I photoshopped it. I don't know. No, it's a real picture. You can go there yourself, I guess. Venomine says ADL self-reportedly advised YouTube on all of this. Okay. Ron Crossman says, to all those in the chat, cheers to the greatest generation. Gimp Rider 66, thanks for the donation. That's a good name. Mob Tech says, we raised over $2,000 in donations for Nightwave tonight because of this crap. Screw you, YouTube. Love your work too, Nick. What's Nightwave?
I don't know.
Gator, do you have any idea what Nightwave is?
Not a clue.
Okay. I wonder if it's an alternative platform that people are trying to make. Who knows? Jason of the Great Awakening says, if you can manage to get Crowder and Owen Benjamin on together, that would make for epic internet blood sports in the dying phase. Big Bear Owen would win. Asia Frazier says, say, you little mother Shaner, how embarrassing. There you go. Next we've got... we're almost done here. Valorant, thanks for donations. Picky Gaming says, caught your stream late. Did you talk about Japan trying to get personal info from YouTube due to manga copyright? We just did. Trom2 Channel 2 says, you missed my super chat. Are you sure? I'll try and find it again in just a second. Dark Wizard 83 says, always enjoy your streams, even if they run late. Mobtech says, also missed my super chat. I just read Mobtech's super chat right then.
Oh, they're saying Nightwave is Mersh from Revenge of the Sis.
Oh.
Is that so? That's a YouTube creator.
Yeah, that's one of the people who got demonetized today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, good. If you like him, support him. I guess that's one of the other answers is if people get demonetized from YouTube, look to alternative ways to support them. Streamlabs, Patreon. So New Project 2. They're not on that New Project 2. They need to get on it.
Pretty soon you'll have to get your own Dick MasterCard.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry, I stole that one from chat. Can't take credit for it.
It's good. Good job, chat. Comic-Con Freak says, cuddle up with a Shane body pillow. Hyper D Kaiser says, first super chat, Rackets, keep up the good work. Hey, thanks, buddy. Chicken Sith says, is government intervention so scary if corporations are trying to replace government anyway? No. The challenge is to undo 50 years of Republican conditioning on it. That's the challenge. Architect on the Republicans. You have to undo 50 years of government of Republican conditioning on normal Republicans, and get them to go ahead. And I think Trump's a big step on that because he is kind of he's got populist and protectionist tendencies, which might be enough to break some of that. Architect of Fate says, with the plague spreading among the homeless in LA and poop on the street in San Francisco, the population disparity in California will not be there for long. Oh my God. Fox Azure says, do you like Knob Creek? Me and some boys got a bottle at the Kentucky machine gun shoot once upon a time. Knob Creek's good. It's good. There are very few whiskeys I don't like, to be fair. Stan with Vic says, how do I know you're not a deep fake, Nick? Blink twice. I can't blink. Timothy Reaper says, don't forget to talk about Arms Girl. Sinatra, are you familiar with Mars Girl?
No.
Do you remember Channel Awesome?
No.
I got it.
Wow.
Do you have that picture at all, Gator?
Which one? The windmill of friendship?
Well, no, not that one. I was just thinking the original. The one that I thought was photoshopped until I saw the windmill of friendship.
No, I don't have it on me, but I can find it really quickly.
Oh boy. What are you guys? Oh boy.
You have to see the length of this person's arms. Like, I think it'll blow your mind.
All right, I am ready.
Do you have a Gator? I'm looking for it. It's actually kind of hard to find.
Yeah, here's
Gator,
the.
this is really quick. This isn't quick.
There you go.
Okay,
Alright, that is-
here we go. Here. Okay, let me get it over so I can
Whoa.
screen share this. Oh, did you pull it up? I'll screen share it real quick.
Can that? She could probably just touch her fucking calves.
Calves? I think she could touch your calves. Look at those things.
Whoa.
She could palm a Volvo with those hands too. Like, those are, God, that's ridiculous. Anyway, that apparently is not photoshopped, although, God, I don't know. I don't know how you get angles that bad. So anyway, sorry, chat.
Stretch Armstrong, new from Kenner.
Yeah, I should have warned the chat to buy bleach first, but I apologize.
That's not natural.
No, it's horrifying. It deserves whatever it gets. I don't.
She was probably a kick-ass player at Red Rover, though. Red Rover, send Slenderman over.
Yeah. Also, she can dunk from the 3-point line. So all she has to do is do a little hop, 3 points, no big deal.
You guys have seen Space Jam, right?
Yeah.
When Michael Jordan's arms stretch out. Well, hers are just like that permanently.
Right.
Oh,
You know,
wow!
it's like-
I just got that.
Her arms are like a stretched out gauged ear that like the person no longer wants and just hangs there like all gross. That's how I imagine her walking around. Like just those arms dragging behind. Okay, let's see. Where was that? Leanheart says, so Electronic Arts patent on adjusted difficulty has been released to the public. Pretty much shows how they milk people with microtransactions. That's why I really don't play games with microtransactions. I mean, I'll buy various on 40K games. I'll buy various cosmetic things as DLC, but yeah, that like pay to win. I just don't mess around with that.
Here's how they could get me on a 40K game. Angry Marines. I'm sold.
Yeah, Angry Marines. For me, Marines Malevolent would be hilarious. Where like a character that literally just goes out of the way to desecrate and further murder the corpses of its enemies would be good. Bloody Thumb says, Monkey Shoulders a pretty good beginner scotch. Yeah, it is. It is. Goblin Schrayer says, Arms Girl sleeves have mile markers.
I literally cannot stop staring at this photo. It's like it gets like her hands are. It gets weirder the longer you look.
Yeah, nothing about it makes sense. The one with the windmill of freedom or windmill of friendship or whatever is great. That is funny. Itsuki Kuro says, my eyes. Why, Nick? Sorry, if I suffer, you suffer. And Asia Fraser says, type Arms Girl in Google image search.
Right.
Do so at your own risk. Okay, and Tess, last two chats we've got here. Tess Not on Holiday says, I want to make a video about how Carlos Maza is not an ally, but an enemy to the LGBT community. I think it'll be especially poignant as I am also Mexican and bi. I don't use those facts to get things. I just use it for jokes or to call people wetbacks. So there you go. Knight of Hopex says, the other problem with the Republicans is that they're for their own version of big government fascism. And they kind of have to because the voting population is all brainwashed to believe that it's the government job to take care of people to a certain extent. I agree with that. Okay. Front Hole Enthusiast says, never play Arms Girl at darts. I said there were 2 left, but then a bunch of people sent them right then. Name says, Arms Girl puts the drag in Knuckle Dragger. Zypher Warrior says, Mars Girl's arms are so long she caresses the Earth's poles until they reverse themselves in disgust. Mars Girl's arms are so big they unbeach fat orcas. Bad Dragonite says, check the screenshot posted in the general on Discord. Oh no. What is this? Just a second. Here we go.
Gator, can you find me that windmill of friendship? I gotta see what that is.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it real quick.
Dash Star Dash Star's tweet says, "Oh my god, at YouTube explanation of demonetizing my entire channel was over liberal use of capital effing letters, mother effing insanity." And so he's got the email from creator support. It says, "Hi Mitchell, I hope you're well. It seems like you'll need to make some changes on the titles of your videos. Please make sure it is aligned with the video's content and to avoid unnecessary capitalization. To help you, kindly check this course." They demonetize someone over capital letters in YouTube videos. Titles. That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my god. Did you find that one? Or are you still looking?
I'm still looking for it.
I think if you just type in Mars Girl, it's honestly one of the front page or top results. Or it's not far down.
I'm looking for, okay, Mars Girl images. I'm looking for something that stands out as windmilly or friendshipy.
I've got it. I've got it here. Let me
Yeah, I just found it too.
I'm gonna send you a link. Where did? Come on, just.
I'll put it. There's an Imgur.
Oh, you have it. Okay, there. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, you'll see what I mean.
Oh, okay. That's good. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and add that to my GIF folder.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Silvis says, "Ask Sinatra if women should be police officers."
No.
Well, there you have it. Very concise. I like it. I like it. Do you have any like short explanation on it or
Because I'm not gonna get arrested by something with a gun that's half my size. Like, think about it. If a woman is ever in a dire situation, what you gonna do? Hold a guy at gunpoint and go, "I need men down here now." Like it's just not gonna work.
Did you see that Dick Masterson tweeted out responded to a tweet today, and it was a female cop talking about like starting a fight. Oh, is that she was lip syncing that Pink song?
Oh yeah, I know.
Da 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 da. Right? I was like, you're gonna go out and start a fight, huh? I mean,
Yeah. How long till she gets caught doing some dumb shit?
well, I think she did. That tweet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, I have exhausted the super chats. We're a little over 3 hours, so I think it's a good time to wrap up the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Do you guys want to promote your stuff, or anything in particular? I don't know. You're demonetized, Sinatra, so hopefully we can get that fixed.
Yeah, I'm gonna still keep making content. I've got like 6 or 7 videos that I've uploaded but are just sitting unlisted that I'll upload at some point. So I'll just type a message in the chat if you're interested. You can go over there.
Yeah, and if you can
find the Creepypasta channel.
Yeah, and if you can DM me those links, I'll add them to the description.
All right.
That'd be great. Gator, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I stream on dlive.tv/Gator and youtube.com/thegatorgamer. I'm going to start doing more frequent streams. Took a little bit of a break to do work stuff. I also am co-host of Ralph's show, which is on dlive.tv/The Ralph Retort. So if you're missing the kill stream or want to know where the spiritual successor is right now, that's where it's at.
Well, there you go. And if you, because I'm going to forget, can you DM me whatever links you want in the description? I'll throw them in there as well.
Absolutely.
And all right, guys. I will play the outro song. It's gonna start in just a second. And thank you all so much for coming. I guess I could start it now. Nothing stopping me. What? Think you could stop this outro? I don't think so. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Gator. Thank you, Sinatra. I hope your channel gets restored sometime, buddy, because that's some BS. And I think I will be streaming on Twitch in a little bit, playing some Warhammer Chaos Bane. So if you want to join me over there, twitch.tv/Rekieta Law. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow night. And yeah, Thanks a bunch, guys. Well, I'm blanking the stream, and I'm gonna mute us. So talk to y'all later. Peace.
His lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an art bag, a bow, more of love rug. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the decomposed on what we have. Get unemployed, so pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have